episode number
frozen prick.
140.
You're back. 142.
142.
Only 358 more to go before we can fucking retire.
The countdown is on. The countdown is on. Just like we used to have the countdown for the next Friday the 13th movie back in the Banana Laser days, because you know how many times they announced it, and the one time was like a major announcement. It's going to be this day. And then anytime we started the show, Matt would say, only 217 more days until the next Friday the 13th. So now when we start this show, there you go. Only
358.
So the death curse started with that.
258 episodes. 358.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Why are we letting him do the math?
I don't know. Why not? He's a teacher, isn't he?
I'm a math teacher.
That's your answer. So B.
We should edit together his resume from the show. From all the times.
Yeah, we'll do a clip show. We'll send a clip show as his resume every time he tries to do math on it.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Damn it. What were you saying now? See, something about it was something good.
Oh, TGIF 13 came out.
No, not TGIF 13. Something
Nobody
else.
gives a fuck about that.
Something about B. Damn, it'll have to come back to me. There was something real interesting. About
it. Stop it, Christian.
About B.
No.
But what?
Lost it. It'll come back. It'll have to come back. I don't know.
I feel like you're about to question me, and then
Oh,
Christian distracted us by changing his thumbnail again.
It happens all the time. It's okay. So yeah, TGIF 13 came out, and see, it's really cool because he's been saying more controversial things on that show than this, and he just said something on the last show, and it was something like people make posts in the group pages, and it was like, well, maybe really in Friday the 13th this thing happened and this person actually survived, or something like, different theories about what may have happened, and then just something like, no, because every time I see that, I want to reply and just say, no, fuck you, it wasn't it, or something. Wait, do you know what you said?
I go to all the people out there, I go, fuck you. Every time they all have these conspiracies, they all have these theories. What if Paul and Ted were behind it all in part 2, and they answered to Mrs. Jarvis in part 4? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, this boggles my mind more than you not knowing who Sacha Cohen Baron is. Like,
or Sacha Baron Cohen, the
or
real
whatever.
Sacha Cohen Baron. Sacha Cohen Baron. That's the dyslexic for it.
It sounds like a snack, a cone baron, doesn't it? Like a fucking ice cream.
I come bearing ice cream. I am the Sacha Cohen Baron.
On behalf of a lot of people, I wish I could really ghost at him, eh? I really just want to just right into Jersey. Just reach in and strangle the heart of Jersey. Like, the whole fucking state.
Wait a minute. Brandon, you're giving him credit as being the heart of Jersey? That's funny. When I think of Jersey, I don't think of Brandon. I mean, I do because of who he is in my life. But I mean, if I didn't know who he was, like, I don't think listeners think Jersey. That's Brandon. I don't know. I think of Jersey.
No.
He's not the heart of Jersey. I'm sorry. He's not. He's the heart of, like,
Let's be honest here. Jersey's like one step away.
But he's still beaten.
I'm not even going to crack my bad joke.
I'm one step away from what? Go ahead.
No. I said mine's done. You're one step away from what now?
You were about to say I'm one step away from something.
Oh, yeah, no. I go Jersey's one step away from Alabama. I think I was going to work it in there as being like, a forgotten state. But it's not really true because Jersey, they got some heart there, which is what I want to choke. I just want to choke it on behalf of the world.
Well, if the United States... If the United States had a mouth... No, damn it, I fucked it up. I was going to say something about if you could put an enema into someplace, it would start in New Jersey. and end in Alabama. Or so, I fucked up the joke. I don't know. It's no
Yeah,
good.
you did.
I don't know how to do it.
Good. Christian's gone. Look,
Christian-
I still see the
Oh,
Amityville thumbnail. He didn't even change it.
Oh, it's changed on my end. I don't know.
Don't tell him. Don't tell him, please.
No, he wasted our fucking time, and I still see Amityville. So for God's sake, get out. That's literally what we want you to do, Christian.
Mentally ill from Amityville. Yeah. Yeah. So Christian May said, "Wait 5 minutes, everybody." The reason he made us wait 5 minutes was because he had to change his fucking icon to
that is not true.
Oh,
to Pluto.
Okay. To Pluto.
But that's not true. Sorry, the internet is being spotty here, so I might have to turn my video off. No, I had to wait 5 minutes because my wife got her book delivered yesterday, and we're frantically. So we got like author copies sent, just two of them, hers and mine, so that we could just do one final edit of the book, just to make sure, try to clean anything up that we notice. And so we were frantically reading. I was trying to get one more chapter done. So because I knew we were going to be on here for a couple hours, and I wanted to make sure she had as much of my edit as possible. So it's scheduled. By the time this episode drops, it will already be out. It comes out May 2nd. So I'll promote it here.
I already pre-ordered my copy.
You'll be sick of yeah. Oh,
I want mine signed by Christian.
Did you
I think that lowers the value of it. Clive Barker's signing my copy.
Oh shit!
But trust me, you'll get sick of me promoting it because that's all you're going to see for a while. My regular Facebook, I'm on for Messenger and for the show. That's it.
I hope you do a better job promoting the book than you do TGIF 13.
Wow. But TGI, there's so many things. Okay, you said wife. I'm going to start with wife. I'm going to go back. Okay. So this morning,
oh God,
my wife has the fucking gall to say to me, I come downstairs, she's already up, this and that, she's dressed, everything. Okay, whatever. Breakfast is made, coffee's brewing, the whole nine. Okay.
You sound angry about this.
Well,
God damn it, she got up and took care of me.
Well, it all sounds great, but look where it finishes. Just hold on. It sounds great. Everything sounds fucking, peaches and cream Sunday morning America. But this is what it was. She says, "Oh, I'm eating my breakfast." She goes, by the way, the wrench took her shower nice and early. You slept right through it, so you have nothing to worry about, she says to me. So she has the gall to put me on the spot about the wrench in the shower thing. Okay. I'm like, "Oh, baby, great, thanks." Okay, so now what happens? Go upstairs after I finish my breakfast.
Shit in the shower.
No, but close. It does have to do with shit.
What?
What do you sometimes like to do before you take a shower? Okay, so what happens?
Dookie. You like the floater?
And speaking of dookie, it happened to me the other day too. My wife I've never heard her use this word before. She says, I have to order more dookie bags for Bailey. Because those little bags to pick up dog poop. So for no reason, she says this. She goes, I have to order dookie bags for Bailey. And then I go, dookie. And she completely no-sold it. She didn't even care that I said that.
At least you didn't scare her.
And you're still married. Like for random, I bet you just go around, dookies. It's grounds for divorce at some point in time.
Well, anything can come out of me at any time. Just an hour ago, I'm walking around going, dit, 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 for no reason, because it's in my head. It's from Carmen Sandiego back in the day. And every time a cat walks, I picture that song playing. Anyway, back to the toilet. So I go on the toilet, go into the bathroom, get ready. I'm gonna have a quick one. Get in the shower, get ready, coffee, show. So what do you think happened? She had to open her big mouth about fucking not wrenching me. Take a wild guess what happened.
No hot water.
No. It has nothing to do with the shower.
she
toilet was clogged.
dropped the deuce and.
Nope. It does have to do with the toilet. What's the worst? One of the worst things that can happen to you when you're on the toilet?
You fall in. She left the seat up.
No.
Why would she leave?
There's
the seat
already
up?
someone. Yeah.
No.
She left a floater for you. You shit on top of her shit. That's grounds for divorce. If you ever drop a turd on your wife's turd, automatic divorce.
No.
You don't even have to
It's
file
above the
paperwork.
water at that point, so it's just horrible smell. It smells like Calcutta.
Smells like the
No.
That made
Canadian
me out of
airport.
line. Yeah.
Oh, she used up all the fucking toilet paper. That's why.
Oh,
That's okay. You hop in the shower, you give yourself the old hand sandwich.
She fucking boned me. No, I don't do that. I'm gonna shower anyway. I can't live like that. You can go without wiping your ass? No.
Absolutely.
Really? Aren't you afraid when you stand up it's gonna roll down?
No, if I'm going directly into the shower, I'll just give it the old hand sandwich.
No, you won't.
Absolutely, I will.
You won't wipe your ass. You'll stand
you
up.
never go shower to ass, but you always go ass to shower.
It depends. If it's a messy one, you want to get a few wipes in. But if it's a clean, pinched off beautifully, where you're like, there's going to be hardly anything on here.
Pinched off beautifully. What am I, 10? What is this, circa 1985? I've been pinched off beautifully for years.
I know. Right?
Every shit is a violent shit now.
Something's wrong with my snapper or whatever. Like whoever
Violent
cuts it off. And
My snapper.
You mean your wife's, not yours, right? My snapper. Something's wrong with my snapper. Oh, we had to close the door. I don't wipe to yours.
No, my dog. No, yeah. Oh shit. My snapper. No, the dog's barking his ear off.
The dog's trying to bite my snapper.
Oh.
Holy shit. So anyway.
I want it pitched off like a sausage. Like when you like whoop, and it just cuts it. Whoop, cuts it.
Oh.
Whoop, cut. But it's like a mess. It's like I'm rebrewing Hebrew. Like it's like a coffee mess down there. Like a mud pie.
Oh, fuck.
If I was in a German Scheiser video, I'm telling you, it'd be soft serve all the way.
Holy shit. So that's what I'm saying. I can't just stand up from the toilet and walk away to a shower. What if something falls on the fucking bathroom rug, the floor?
Good
How do you
Lord,
know nothing's going to fall out?
You guys are a bunch of like 90-year-old dogs. What the fuck?
Well, wait a minute.
Like,
Hold on. B, I've never tried it. I don't know if anything's going to fall out. I'm just saying I'm not going to find out the hard way. That's for sure.
My spleen fell out.
No, a piece of a turd or something. I don't want something to fucking fall out without wiping a spleen. You hear what I'm saying? There's a reason you wipe your ass.
You need to get a new snapper.
I'm telling you. Should sell those on Amazon. Like a little eye snappers.
Turd cutters.
So what do you do? What do you do when you get trapped on the shitter? Because I have a solution. I can tell you what I do. I take the empty thing. You know, talking about the spindle that the thing was on. The fucking.
You use the spindle to whip your ass?
No,
he plugs up his butthole with it.
Correct. I do. I put it in between my cheeks, and I walk over and I get the fucking TP.
Oh my god, you are a fucking violent human being.
Wait a minute, what is that file? I have to do something. It's only paper. It's like that soft cardboard.
No,
I'm not talking about the spinner that you put it on. I'm not talking about the property of my house I'm putting in my ass. I'm talking about that piece of little cardboard at the end, the spindle, because it gets used up.
First off, I've got a little wire, like a beautiful little stainless steel thing that holds like 5 other like rolls. So you really got.
I know we can't. They tear it up.
Oh, our cat doesn't bother with it. It's great. But then, second of all, it is just over into the cupboard in our washroom, so it's not that far of a walk. So even if I had to like get it, but I also have kids. That's what you have kids for. You're like, hey, toilet paper.
Right. True.
Oh, I thought you.
It's delivered on a silver platter.
Spindle.
No,
get in there. And I wedge him in there.
I guarantee. I know we're. I'm sorry, but I know we're on Patreon, so we don't have the reach that we did when we didn't have, but our dedicated listeners, I guarantee, not one of them does what you just described.
That's why
No
I call
one.
it
I
vile
know.
human being.
So wait a minute. If you're me, what would you rather do? Just wing it, fucking free bird, and hope nothing falls out your ass?
I
I
think
used to walk to the closet.
yeah,
Hold
what's
on.
gonna fall out your ass? Like, what do
A
you?
piece of shit, maybe. I don't know. How am I supposed to know what's there?
Then you clean it up off the floor.
I'm not. No, I'm not gonna have shit fall out.
Oh, Dookie!
Then I gotta add more to my chores because she fucked up. I gotta fucking clean shit off the floor. It's bad enough I gotta fucking deal with.
No one's the wiser. You go take a shower, you just step over it, and you pretend nothing happened. You blame the cat.
Well, now listen. Lucky for me, I keep an
Lucky eats it?
emergency. Yeah. Oh.
Lucky for me, he'll lick it right up.
No,
Wow.
but because she
It's a
does
new
shit
low.
like this, yeah. Because she does things like this, I always keep emergency backups. So I have a stash in that bathroom that she doesn't know about, and there's a TP in there for when she fucks me.
In the
So there it is.
in the back tank. It's sopping wet.
know what?
I let this dry.
That's a good idea. I should tape it in there with a fucking big plastic bag.
Actually, no,
Just on the top.
you had the best idea. You should use Lucky. He's just fucking. He's black. You're not gonna be. It's gonna be hard to tell if he was a white cat. It's one thing. Come here, Lucky. You're gonna wipe.
You
You're gonna
can't
be my.
say that.
You're gonna wipe my turd cutter.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had to do something. And that's what I do. I put that thing up there. I walk a few feet to the thing and I grab it. But I don't want something to fall on the bathroom rug. I don't know. What do I know what's going to... I'm not going to take the chance. It's never happened to me before, but, just existing as long as I have, something tells me that it's possible for someone to stand up and have poop fall out. And I don't want it to happen.
I always make sure I'm finished pooping before I stand up. But I get it, but I don't know. Like the way you're describing it makes me think of an old dog with patches of fur missing, like walking around shitting itself, not even aware of what's going on.
Or you have no way of stopping it. Like you stand up and it's like, whoop, whoop, whoop. Like your ass has been so worked over the years that it's just a big, like the Lincoln Tunnel, and it's just like something like just falls right out. Like you have no control over snapping that thing up or holding onto it.
It's a gaping mess. He has no control of his turd cutter. His snapper's in desperate need of repair.
What? You act like I've been in porn for
here?
fucking 20 years or something.
Well,
No,
that's
I haven't.
That's the way you talked about it. Like, I can't stand up and walk.
Well, I don't know what
What?
You're eating. You're like, and it's like going.
eating. Who eats on the shitter?
Well, but like you have no control. Like it goes right through you. It's like ding 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 ding. Like right up and down.
Let's move
Wow.
on.
This
Holy
is-
fuck.
Yes.
Okay.
Holy crap! It's right. This is.
There was so many things I wanted to cover. TGIF
That's how you
13.
thought of it. We're from TGF 13 to talking about shit. Thank you so much.
Well, I heard that Victor Miller and Sean Cunningham have sent you emails saying you had to change the name of your podcast. That you're infringing on their intellectual property.
Fuck the two of them.
Could you imagine? Because I told this story to Jamie yesterday. She hasn't heard the show yet, but I told her in a conversation because the podcast hasn't dropped yet about the Nightmare on Film Street and the Nightmare on Fifth Street debacle. And she goes, "Well, what the fuck?" She goes, "What if Wes Craven fucking contacted Nightmare on Film Street and said you can't use my name?" I'm like, that's a good fucking point. You're right.
Crazy
Who the
he contacted them now.
fucking
Yeah.
creepy.
Yeah.
Well, true. His estate.
It's a movie unto itself.
I got to tell you, for about 10 minutes, I considered it as a joke, coming up with a fake email and sending it to fucking Nightmare on Film Street and saying we represent the, the estate
Lollipop Guild?
of Craven. Yeah.
We represent the Lollipop Guild. The Lollipop Guild. The Lollipop Guild. There's not enough Wizard of Oz references on this show, if you ask me.
Coming. What about Sasha? That situation. You said that somebody couldn't believe I didn't know what Borat. I know what Borat is. Didn't I know that it was a Middle Eastern thing? I saw a commercial on Prime a couple times or something. But I don't watch television. I don't know what the fuck it is, but I heard the name Borat. What else is it going to be? It's not going to be it's got to be something, foreign. It's not going to be something fucking about some guy in the United States, some teenager. Hey, I'm Borat. How you doing? Borat sounds like it's a thing. I don't know what it is. So I knew what Borat was to a degree. I don't watch television. So how am I going to see commercials? I have no desire to see commercials.
But to me, this is popular culture. It was like the biggest comedy of the year. And like it's actually one of my all-time favorite comedies. It's fantastic.
Are they punking people? Are they punking someone? Is it the gimmick? Like he's pretending to be this character and he's like fucking with people, and then later on it's like ha.
It's that mixed with story.
See, I like the concept of fucking with people. Like Tom Green. When Tom Green first came out and he had a show on HBO, I think it's a million times better than fucking Jackass. To me, punking other people and messing with them that way and like playing pranks on them is so much funnier than hurting yourself. Like there's no fucking it's
the prank. You're right. You're right, yeah. But even his stuff, like when he had his videos, he was like, I got to get paid. I'm a meter maid. And he was just following the meter guy around. To me, that's funny. Like, it's just stuff like that. Like who does it? Like, we all hate those guys. And we're just like, but he just goes, got to get paid. I'm a meter maid. And it's just following him around.
Dave reads meters. I want to follow Dave around singing that.
I'm not a meter maid, though.
I know, but I still want to sing that song anyway. I'm following you around all day.
That'd be okay. If someone came up to me and did that, I mean, I wouldn't be bothered. I'd find humor in it, but most people probably wouldn't. They'd probably be agitated, and that's funny to me.
If you don't know old Tom Green and you only know him from like what Charlie's Angels or Freddy Got Fingered, then you do owe yourself to just go to YouTube and do. That one I think is Tom Green, and it could be enjoyed by all. It's funny. That's when he spray paints the lesbians on the front of his dad's. He airbrush sprays the lesbian scene on his dad's hood of his car. So he wakes up to go to work and realizes that he can't drive the slutmobile to work and has to take the bus.
Right. See, that's what the Jackass guys kind of did afterwards. Remember that guy was messing with his father all the time, and they kind of got it from Tom Green, and I thought Tom Green was much better. To me, messing with people, again, I said it before, it's funnier to me than doing something, going through a table and, hurting your knee and fucking laughing about it. I don't know. That's me, though.
Jackass did it right. Jackass just made a movie version of their show, whereas Tom Green decided he had to do Freddy Got Fingered, whereas he should have just done a cinematic version of his show.
Yes.
That's where the difference was. And Jackass, I will give them credit. They did it right. And there's a part 4 coming out this year, I believe.
No interest. Shocking. Yeah, it's not my cup of tea. But what was I going to tell you? Oh, back to that thing. So people told you they were shocked. He's gay. They were shocked that I told you that I didn't know who this Sasha person was and this Barrett, Borat, whatever the fuck.
Oh, Chris E.K. Scott. Not a bunch of people, but Chris is like, I can't believe what they, because I said it boggles my mind, right? And he's like, I can't believe he'll know this, that, and the other thing, but he won't know like something like that. It's just certain things. You shock us. I think Brandon agreed. It's just a couple of things that
it's like Swiss cheese. It's like you're missing like obvious parts of like your brain that just like.
No, but the difference is I set out to do that. That's the goal. That's what I want to be. I don't want to be, you know what I mean? I don't need to see. I have everything. Not that I'm not open to new things. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to see commercials. If something really is incredible, I'm going to hear about it word of mouth. Like this Sasha Cohn thing, again, I didn't know. There's no way I could know what that person's name. Who played Borat? I wouldn't know because I've never watched the movie. So, and I'm not saying I'm against watching. If my wife said to me, hey, I heard that's a funny movie, let's watch it. I'm fine to watch it. You know what I mean? Comedies now, they're only so good to me. Like they're good and I can watch one and be entertained by it. I could say, okay, I might even give it like, an 8 out of 10 or something. Oh yeah, that's great. But I mean, to me, it's not like the older comedies to me. It doesn't have the staying power. They just kind of come and go. I don't know, but
no, Dave, I agree with you on almost everything you just said there. But every now and then there's that diamond in the rough, if you will. Now I'm not saying that this is like we try to do ground. Borat was a huge hit, but Borat actually to me was like a modern classic of comedy. Like that's how good he is in that character, and it's a combination of that old Tom Green style of punking, but done like he's totally in character. So you almost have to give him even more credit than that because he's not just playing himself. I mean, he's transferring himself into Ali G, Borat, and Bruno. And he's made movies of all three, Bruno being the follow-up to Borat. And of course, there was a sequel to Borat that came out last year, which a lot of people didn't like, probably because it had a political agenda attached to it. But I thought it was great. I've watched it twice, and I thought it was great. But yeah, there is a political agenda or a political aspect to it as well. But it didn't take away from me finding the movie. Is it as good as the first? Absolutely not. The first to me is a modern classic, being like 2006. But I agree. Like there's been a handful of movies that I've said elevated and I will rewatch from a comedy standpoint. And they seem to get fewer and fewer as opposed to horror movies, which there's quite a few that I watch over and over and over again.
Certainly, and old comedies. You know what I mean? Most of them are from the 70s and 80s, as far as I'm concerned. Not so many new ones. But yeah, I mean, I'll add it to the list. That's fine. But I'm just like, pop culture doesn't really mean
Fringe
much.
February. Next Fringe February. Borat.
Next January. It's non-horror.
I'm going to watch that Borat movie.
You should watch Bruno, too. I wonder, because Bruno goes either way because it's like, because of its focus. Some people just can't get by the overtly gay. But that's exactly what it is. That's what it's all about.
He is overtly gay. I don't think it goes both ways.
Oh, Sacha Bowen?
Whatever
his name is? He's gay in real life?
Yeah, Sacha Borat.
Whatever his name is.
He's not. He's married. He's fine. It's the character of Bruno is gay.
Oh, okay. All right.
But there's a scene that you will never remember. Overlooked because people just don't hold it in such a good. There's a scene there where he convinces what's her name from American Idol, was a big pop singer back in the day. Straight up now, tell me, Paula Abdul. Yeah, no, Paula Abdul. He has her come over to do an interview. To do an interview and there's no furniture there, so he makes all the Mexican workers act like furniture. So like as a chair, and he makes Paula Abdul sit on a Mexican because he's a chair, and like another one's like a table or whatever.
And she does.
Yes, she does. She does.
So that's basically saying she's a piece of shit.
Yeah, that's what he does. He exposes people as the pieces of shit that they are. That's what he does. That's what he did in the latest movie with Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah.
Oh, this is my kind of thing. Then.
No, you got it. You need to check out his work.
Ali G is not. Ali G's more of a fictional movie. When if you see his show, it's different because he punks a lot of people as Ali G. Ali G in the House. I'm trying to remember now because I watched that one a long time ago. It didn't resonate as much. Borat to me is king, but I'll go back and revisit Bruno quite a bit too. But I won't say anything more because there's a lot of great sketches. That's not even the best one. That's just one that stood out to me that I think is just perfect. There's one about a commercial shoot, like that, and a show that he's trying to get greenlit.
So wait, what guy is this? This is Ali G? This is the guy that exposes the people?
The same guy.
Sacha Baron Cohen is the real guy's name.
I get this, but what movie does he do this to Paula Abdul?
Bruno.
Okay.
He plays three characters, Ali G, Bruno, and Borat. And they all have their own movies. Check out Borat and check out Bruno.
Three Faces of Cohen. Okay.
Thank you for summing that up for me because that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Borat first, then Bruno.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Ali G, which is on the other thing. Yeah. Which is about
or go to the sequel to Borat, which a lot of people seem to mix on. Like, but I know when I see the comments, I look at who makes those comments, and I've gotten a pretty good idea over the years of their political beliefs and backgrounds.
Oh, it's extremist
that anybody that seems to have had, and again, I'm sorry, but this is just what I've noticed. I'm not saying everybody out there, but what I've noticed from the friend group that we follow is that anybody with a conservative background, it was not funny. I turned it off immediately. It's funny. It's funny. Just give it a chance. But yes, there's an agenda behind it, which I could see pissing people off. At the end of the day, just make us laugh. But I liked it, so I don't care. I try to separate that. I try to separate it. I don't say I'm always successful in separating it, but I did find the sequel funny.
Can you try separating your words? Slow down a little.
I had a lot of coffee this morning. Can we make it a Patreon perk where I reached through and I just strangled the fucking heart of Jersey? What tier would that be?
That'd be something. Speaking of patrons, we have we've had a lot sign up lately, and I want to thank them again because we've even had people get on the year memberships and stuff. So
yeah, that's crazy. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
There's still people on the $1 tier that are just saying thank you, and we thank you for that. You'll never hear this.
$1 tier, yeah. Fuck you guys. All you people with the $1 tier, thank you, and go fuck yourself.
Aww.
In 1 year, you'll hear Brandon's term of endearment for you.
Good Lord.
Not 1 year. Actually, it'll be longer than that. It will be quite a bit longer by the time this episode comes out.
Maybe we'll get the $1 people on for episode 450.
What we should do. We should try to upsell them. We'll get them on the show. 10-minute segment. Come on, man.
Get them on.
Yeah. It's the only way you're going to hear us.
That's amazing. Well, yeah, we got more. John signed up for a full year. John Cohorn is back. He got a full year membership, so we're going to be doing some trilogies and some other picks for him. And Dahlia, who was one of the hosts from that show, Nightmare on Fifth Street, just signed up. I don't know if she signed up blindly or not, but I told her after. Man,
now, is this the Black Dahlia? Or I can't say that. Christian froze.
I don't think you can say that.
You're going to get us in all kinds of trouble.
No, that was just my reaction.
Speaking of you can't say that,
I'm listening to... Stop? Fucking guy hits his mic every 4 seconds.
Oh, I know. He's karate chopping it over there. He's fucking Daniel LaRusso. He's fucking LaRusso. Yeah. Excuse me. LaRusso. No, listen. Remember that podcast I was telling you? I said that they were ripping off our shit a couple of shows. Last show was it? Whatever it was. And I was playing the stuff, and I go, they must be listening. They had the. Remember that stuff I was playing you when the guy said Arn Anderson. Remember he said you can't say
Roads
that.
on the road.
Yeah, roads on the road. You mean roads on the rocks? Roads on the road. Roads on the road. That would be good though. Roads on the road actually sounds better. He should do a driving podcast. I'm on the way to work.
Shouldn't it be Rocky Roads?
We're not talking about Rocky this episode.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying shouldn't that be the name of the podcast though?
Yeah, Rocky Roads. If he's going through treacherous driving, and he's hosting the show, Rocky Roads, or John Rose. He can host a Rocky podcast and call it Rocky Roads.
Every time I listen to his show in my car, I want to Thelma and Louise it right off a cliff.
With a cigar in your mouth?
Yeah, with a cigar. The one that Bob is smoking in Hills Have Eyes.
Wait a minute. Let me play this podcast because again, they got us again. Because what was the one thing they said? He said you can't say that the one time. Oh, and then he said cock of the walk the next show. And now listen to this. This is further proof. I'm telling you, this guy's listening to our show because you won't believe this. Listen.
Did you feel bad for Jeff knowing, given the fact that allegedly he held up Vince McMahon?
He says whelp. Who fucking says whelp?
A lot of people do. That's what's wrong with society today. Yeah.
They don't say it. They write it. I never heard anybody say whelp. I never in my life heard somebody say whelp.
I've never seen anybody in my life write it. I've heard people say it, but never write it.
Are you fucking serious? That's how this whole thing got started. I was saying that. I go, how come everyone's writing whelp all the time? Whelp. What the fuck's whelp? Remember I was saying?
People say it. I hear people say whelp, anywho. Supposedly.
Yeah, but okay. When
supposedly, everybody says supposedly. Like, what the fuck is supposedly?
Chablis, huh? I don't know what that is. Chablis, isn't that a drink? Oh, would you like some Chablis? Anyway,
yeah, but that's not what he said. He said supposedly.
Suppose Chablis.
That's are you trying to say Beaujolais?
Oh, Chablis. I said suppose Chablis. He doesn't like that joke.
I like
so
anyway, I got a way out.
Well, I hear people say, well, I hear them say, well, right? I mean, but that's the closest I hear to the word whelp. This guy came right out and said, whelp. You've actually heard people say that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I have too.
I've only seen it like in text. That's all. I've seen it written. I've never heard anybody say the word that way. You know. Either way.
It's crazy. It's this is what we have to deal with.
Anywho, let's move on.
What a world! I'm just trying to get more Wizard of Oz references in there.
And how about
what a world!
Sorry. Do Wizard of Oz. What I say yesterday, if I'm being honest, did I have that conversation with you guys, or was it somebody else? Or was it a different group text?
What conversation?
About if I'm being honest. That expression.
Oh, that threw it in, but it's out of the blue. Like you're just like, I really hate the. If I'm being honest, I'm like, where did this come from? I started scrolling back up. I go, did I use this term?
No. I just happened to watch something and I heard it again, and it just occurred to me what a ridiculous turn of phrase that is. I'm being honest.
Yeah. Or to tell you the truth. Or to tell you the truth. To tell you the truth, I don't really like Friday the 13th.
There you go. That replaced it. If I'm being honest, replaced to tell you the truth. That's what it's evolution. It's like misogynist took over the word male chauvinist. It just kind of happened.
If I'm being honest, I've stood up and my turd cutter has leaked on the floor.
He was laughing. Even a joke come out. He just knew you're going to go to turd cutter. I need to know, unless you heard the joke before I did, and there's a major delay here. But did you just listen to TGIF 13 recently? Because I think I actually said, to be honest, I'm like, and I even stopped myself. I go, I don't know what I'm being honest about, and I think I stumble over that and I make a reference to like, what the hell did I just say that for? In that episode with Vincent Justin D. I'm almost positive it was
Maybe you did. Maybe you did, and I didn't even realize it. I've had an issue with it for a while. I've just never said anything about it.
In other words, you can't say that it's his intellectual property.
It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I am victim. I do that. I actually, I've caught myself saying that, to be honest or whatever. I don't know why. It's just one of those things.
To be honest isn't as bad. It depends on the context of the conversation.
If I'm being honest with you.
Right. Why start that at the beginning of the sentence? You know, like it's like how people used to always say, I mean.
He's an habitual liar.
Yeah, if I'm being honest with you, implies that everything you're about to say is a fucking lie.
Right. Why wouldn't you be being honest? That makes it's irrelevant to say. It took over. It's something that people say at the beginning of a sentence now for no reason, completely out of context. Like people used to always say, I mean. Like you'd see somebody being interviewed on show. So tell me, Bruce, how did you get started in acting? And he would go, I mean, back when I was 6 years old. I mean, you know, people always say
it's a lead-in, but it's a lead-in. I
know.
Like he said something before that was false. Like he lied. He's like, you know what? I mean.
Anyway, it's just these little ticks. I noticed.
This was sitting beside me the whole freaking show already, and I can't believe I didn't have it. No, this. And it was perfect for the segment that we had earlier.
Third cutter.
He's got to be in our movie. We got to say Dookie. Right, we got to bring him up. We should find that actor.
Sit right here.
We should find that actor. Because remember you guys said there's no way he had a career after that? We should look him up. See if he'll be in our movie. Just to say Dookie. I could even be pretend Hulk Hogan. You know what I mean? What's that smell? I'll get a blonde hair and a do-rag and I'll be a skinny Hogan.
But you already had the shirt.
That's true. I got a Hulkamania. I got long hair. Is that him? Dookie? Yeah, that's him. Yeah, Yeah.
Look them up.
Yeah.
Look them up. One credit.
Yeah.
Look how they spell Dookie in here.
Douki?
I.
That's the Canadian.
What's
Yeah,
that?
that's the French Canadian. Dowky. That's what it is. What's this all about? I mean, Dowky.
Oh.
I guarantee that is from the States. That we all know it.
I guarantee Dowky is from the States.
Douki. Probably from Alabama.
That's another saying. That's another saying. I guarantee.
Well, that's not a saying. That's making it. That's how serious he is about it. It's like I guarantee that's
but
from.
you really can't make
guarantee.
a guarantee. You can't make a guarantee without really truly knowing, and you always seem to use it in a way of not really knowing.
He's
But
that 100% sure. In his mind, there's no question.
I guarantee you're an asshole.
I guarantee you're full of Dowky.
Now, if he personally says, "I'm gonna make a guarantee," like himself, that's serious words there. Like I've said it a few times. I guarantee that if this happens, I'll quit podcasting, or I guarantee.
If I'm being honest, I'm thinking about quitting podcasting after this show.
And the listeners are probably doing the same.
Yeah.
Because I just had to explain. Again, I sent a message to Nightmare on 5th Street, and I said, listen, I go, just so you know, I go, the first hour of our show is just us doing this stuff. It's not even horror related. It's just us being natural, and the listeners like it, but it's going to be off-putting to a new listener possibly. So just want you to know, we are going to get into the horror, but if you don't want to hear that stuff, it is timestamped. So, but I mean,
I just figured it out. My God, a new rating. If the movie is below, instead of an imploding head, it's Dookie.
I don't mind.
So we can rip Wild Rumble with imploding and then Dookie as the shit.
Okay, so
piece of shit.
That's it. So it's exploding head, full head explosion. It's half head explosion, mild rumble, Dookie, and imploded head. That's it.
Or imploded head, or Dookie. I don't know. Like whatever.
Oh,
Dookie's like, yeah.
Dookie should be second to last. Dookie should be second to last, and then last should be prolapse turd cutter.
Prolapse. Now our show goes from talking about exploding heads to shit. Haven't we had enough fucking fecal talk on this show today?
Put that in front of your face. Yeah, there you go. Just pocket.
Put it in front of your face. That's even better. I'm gonna put this in front of Brandon's face. It's gonna be Brandon's icon the whole show.
Can we do the SpongeBob giveaway now?
Yeah.
Let's go. One lucky fan.
Nice.
Dookie.
Yeah.
Well.
I got a lot of stuffed animals in here. It's my son's room.
Exploding heads or exploding assholes? What does this show become? Holy cow. Out of control here. What the fuck? I'll tell you what, though. You guys laughed.
Exploding assholes from day one.
That's true. You guys laughed at me about the cover box talk, and I had somebody say something on the page, and somebody send me a message about how they were afraid of the Elephant Man too. So you can laugh all you want. Here's the problem with what happened there. That movie never should have been marketed the way it was. It looks like it's a scary fucking thing. Like I remember the first time I saw, we used to have a regular TV guide. Then we would have the HBO guide. I don't know if anybody remembers the HBO guide, but it was smaller and thinner. Anyway, then there was a cable guide. It was the tallest one of all.
Cable guide.
I'll never forget the cable guide, because what happened was
you never ran out of toilet paper that way. You never had to worry. You always had a cable guide handy.
Well, the cable guide was great because not only did you have HBO, it only had all the cable channels on it. So you didn't have your 2, your 4, your 7. It had all the specialty cable shows on it, which that was all the rage at the time. Everybody was all about cable. It was newer kind of, So the cable guide would come from whatever cable company it was. At our time, I think it was the Adelphia or International. Either way, it was the tallest book of them all, and it was thick. And it was the cable guide. I'll never forget. There was a full page ad. I opened it up one day, and there was a full fucking page. And the movie wasn't out yet. It was coming to cable, and they fucking showed it. And it's the Elephant Man, and this fucking mask, and this guy standing there, and the lettering. You're gonna tell me that doesn't seem like it's a horror movie when you look at it? That seems fucking. What else would that be? Somebody in a fucking mask. When do you see something like that?
It was the lettering, the image on the cover. I agree. It was really marketed bizarre.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kids never should have seen that. And it was PG, so it came to like all those channels, and all of a sudden adults are watching it and stuff, and kids are being exposed to that. That's fucking scary shit. I'm sorry. It is. And
I have the cover art right here.
That would have been better.
What a trunk.
That would have been better. Just do that and have something or let people know what kind of movie it is. But us kids were exposed to that at the time, and it was all over the place. And that's why we were too young to see something like that. It's jarring. Again, it's the way it's marketing. The movie itself is dreary and black and white, and seeing something like that on the screen, you never saw something like that before. That's scary shit. So I'm not the only one. I'm probably the only one now that's afraid, present day. But but either way, these people, they were all. He was saying I couldn't do this. I couldn't look at my closet. The thing looked like the mask to me. His curtains or something. He said. So people were freaked out, and I wasn't the only one. And Carson Daly was talking about it. Carson Daly. He was talking to Rob Zombie, and he said that was the movie he was the most afraid of. And his parents took him to see it in the movies. And he was crawling on the floor underneath the seats crying because he wanted to leave the theater.
And his pants were full of dookie.
Bottom line is I share the trauma with others. I'm not the only one. So thanks for
Carson Daly.
And our listeners.
It's true. I mean, it's true. The guy. I mean, it was marketed as if he escaped from the Hills of Eyes, and now he was put in a hospital. Trying to rehabilitate. I mean, serious. I mean, it looks like he's escapee from the Hills of Eyes. It's horrible because the movie itself is very touching and it's a great movie, but the marketing of it is quite. You're right. It was marketed as a horror film, which is very odd, considering the nature of the story itself.
As a matter of fact, on the cover of Fangoria, I saw it's one of the upcoming ones that I'm going to be getting to. It's like 7 or 8 or something. It's written on the cover. It's one of the movies that they're going to talk about. So I got to read about this now. But I mean, seriously, so it was marketed that way, and that's why it's scary to kids. It wasn't in the horror section, thank goodness. But nothing in the horror section scared me. We were talking about the movies that were in the box covers and stuff. I can't recall being afraid of anything like that, but that I was afraid of.
What about a cut box Halloween 2? That was terrifying.
That fucking Halloween 2 box. It's the white whale, the Halloween 2 box. VHS people.
Oh, and CED people for now. I got out of the group. I just said, forget it. I'm done. Anytime someone posts something, I'm done. I am fed up with people. So, Rebecca, I don't know what it is. Everybody, don't get me wrong. The woman that posted this one was very nice. She just said, hey, I don't know what I was thinking. I came across and I grabbed all these discs and she stacked them. Well, because I don't care. I don't have a player. I don't care if I watch it or whatever. I just wanted if she wondered if she had a Friday the 13th. She said she had 2 of them. And I said, well, okay, I've got 3. So if you got any of the other ones, I'd be willing to take them. I live here, but I got a buddy outside of Buffalo that if it's easier to mail to, that would be it. She gives me a thumbs up. Nothing else. A couple hours later, she posts again. Some guy goes, oh, any Friday the 13th? She gives him a picture of part 3 and part 4. And he's like, I'll take part 4. And wow. I know. And then Dave pointed out, okay, the guy's local and whatever. I'm like, I've lost out. I don't know what it is. Maybe Canada's scaring them away, but I've lost out on getting part 1, 2, and 4 now in the CED groups. So I'm just banning all groups. I'm saying bye to all these groups and whatever. I just wanted, because on eBay they charge an arm and a leg, and part 4 is not even available. So I was just trying to get it for a good price, but I'm done with them now. Done.
Wow.
I'll be right back.
So
I'm in rage. No, I got to get a Kleenex.
So that's it. There's no more VHS groups. There's no more CED groups. You want any collectors groups, B?
No.
No. Tell you what.
I don't rely on other people for my collection. I'll just buy it from the actual retailers. But I don't collect old stuff.
Well, that's the thing.
That's the thing. These ones you can't get from a retailer.
It's like Fangorias. You can't just. They're not just sitting at stores unless you live in Pennsylvania, which apparently JP and Carly seem to keep going into stores and getting them. You know.
Well, that's what it sounds like. You could go into any thrift shop and grab a Friday the 13th CED. It seems like that. And they supposedly are more reasonable because they're only on for like, a few bucks, maybe $5. But then the second someone posts it to eBay, they jack it up to 20, 30 American, and then I got to pay import fees, and then shipping is doubled. So then it ends up being 50 to 60 bucks by the time when all is said and done. And that seems ridiculous. So whenever these grips were good because they were a little bit more reasonable, hey, I'll sell it to you for $2 and shipping. But it's never worked out. It's just become a big nuisance. So I'm just like, fuck it. So I'm getting out of all of them.
Son of a gun.
Except for the Canadian groups. There's a bunch of new Canadian groups, and I'll hang out in there for a bit. But they don't have things like the old school stuff like CDs and stuff. But
what are they? Have you tried Dowkey.com?
Yeah. It's based out of Jersey.
Based out of Oshawa.
Yeah.
Dowkey. That's great. Oh man. Well, whelp. Sorry, no, I'll never say that again. Not even as a joke. Fucking a whelp. Oh man, all I can think about is someone punching a dog. And what a terrible fucking visual that is. Whelp.
What?
I've always said that.
You said that before. I know, but why?
I'll tell you why. Because a dog, something about the word whelp, it's almost like whip, like somebody inflicting pain on something, like hitting somebody, and a dog yelps. So I picture a guy, it's a combination of whip and yelp. So it's somebody fucking, I could see somebody punching a dog, and that's called a whelp. I whelped his ass.
I can't wait till it's a fetish now, and we could just search for it on like Pornhub. Whelping videos. And it's just some fucking Canadian guy in assless chaps just beating on a fucking dog.
Aww.
Moods.
Moods loves dogs. I don't want to see that.
I know he loves dogs, but I feel like he owns assless chaps. I don't know why, but he seems like he'd be the one that owns
it.
Never know.
I feel like he owns assless chaps.
I'll tell you what the problem is with porno. I'm so sick of fucking all this choking shit going on. When you're talking about it's going to be on Pornhub, I can't fucking stand it. Every time I find a new girl that I'm into and I watch a porn or this or that, 75% of the videos they're being fucking choked and slapped. That's not fucking sexy. Fuck that shit. I'm tired of it. It's so popular.
You don't know what she said just before the video started, though.
Choke and slap me. Choke and slap me.
She might have been screaming Dowkey all the time.
Yeah.
Honestly, if it's in real life and you have a girl, and I have dated a girl that used to wear a choker and she wanted me to pull it, and they were into it. And again, I always say I'm happy to be there. Whatever you want to do, I'll do it.
Happy to be there.
That's what I always say. I'm just happy to be there. You know what I mean? I'm getting late. I'm happy to be here. However you want, it's how I'm gonna do it. I was always a man of the fucking. I'm like the mailman. I'm gonna deliver. I'm gonna fucking do and then some, because you want them to come back. You know what I mean? And then I'm the Sandman because I knock him right out and put him to sleep. Anyway, I gotta stop. Sorry. The old fucking, the old shit talking single man Dave Z came out. Anyway, yeah. In that case, it's fine. But I mean, I don't know if you guys. I know you guys have attested to watching it, but have you noticed it's all over the fucking place?
There's a lot of rough stuff. I feel like you could find softer stuff though.
I mean, you can, but it's hard to say. A lot of the girls I'm into, just for whatever reason, they just end up fucking, they're always in those videos. And I'm so tired of fucking choking, and I'm tired of it. I really am. And the way the blowjobs that are real rough, and it's too much now. It's gotten way out of hand.
Well, that's because everything's been desensitized. Before it was like one-on-one. Now, you need to have like 8 dicks. Is the joke. Everything has to be amped up to 11, as you always say, Dave. So yeah, there's a lot more.
If the mascara ain't running, neither is my hog.
There's something a little sexy about that, but not because of abuse. You know what I mean? Oh God. Anyway, I think
how do we get on that? So what? Yeah, what?
Because you said it was because of Pornhub. You said that there was going to be people.
Whelping videos.
Whelping on Pornhub. So when he said Pornhub, it popped into my head that last night when I was watching it, I was thinking that I was going to bring it up. I was going to say on the next show that I'm fucking fed up with the choking. Enough already.
Enough. KFC's had enough. Yeah. Except if it's Brandon, yeah. Oh, perfect. That I'll never get enough of. Look, his mascara's running.
Choking and whelping?
Mascara. You gotta say it like you're in a mascara.
Mascara, yes.
Mascara.
Mil mascara.
I don't know why we have to say it like that. Future, just look up clit kissing. That should be your search from moving forward.
Clit?
Nice.
C-L-I-T? Clit kissing?
Yeah. I'm just totally making that up. That seems softer to me.
It is soft and sweet. I hear you.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. It's going to be very 70s. You know what I mean? Which is fine. It's fine.
Why 70s?
Who are you calling a clit kiss? Remember that commercial? Who are you calling a doo-doo head cootie queen, you lit liquor? You remember that commercial?
Lint liquor sounds familiar.
I think it's Orbit. It was the Orbit scum.
Oh, I can't
remember. It was like, you doo-doo headed cootie queen. Like, who are you calling a cootie queen, you lit liquor?
For some reason, it's
it was a commercial, and I'm trying to do clit kisser. Who are you calling a clit kisser? But it's hard to say.
Sing it to him.
Clit kisser is a tongue twister.
Wow, in more ways than one.
Right?
Wow. Yes.
Seriously.
Right?
Right?
Clit kisser is a tongue twister. Clit kisser is a tongue twister. Clit kisser is a tongue twister. There he is, Mr. Roper. Clit kisser is a tongue twister. See?
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was fumbling over that.
Try it, everybody. Try to say that 5 times fast. Clit kisser is a tongue twister. That's right.
Clit kisser is a tongue twister. Clit kisser is a clit glisser. Sounds like a mayor. Who's the mayor of your town? Clit glisser.
And as an added bonus, say it 5 times fast while you're doing it with your loved one.
Next time I'm doing my
things going.
Next time I'm doing my thing to my wife, I'm gonna say that when I'm down there. Clit kisser is a tongue twister.
Out loud.
I will. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I'll get a laugh. Remember.
And then to top it off at the end, right when you're done kissing the puss, just go south a little bit, just a little bit. Kiss her in the butt and go, Dookie.
It's official. The show. I'm actually gonna have to look at Patreon and see how many people leave after this episode drops. It's a new low. It's a new low.
Sounds like a weatherman. And here's Clit Clisser with the weather. Chance of moisture high. There's going to be a lot of moisture this weekend.
And it's going to be muddy. Followed by mudslides. Oh my gosh. But I will say that when I'm down there. Because remember, I'm the same guy that got busted. I got busted doing the fucking Patrick Bateman when I was having sex with my wife. Because she saw my shadow. I was doing it, doggy. Yes, I was doing it like in the movie. I was having a good time. I was doing it. Fucking, I told the story on a summer series last year. So I'm doing my thing, and I felt real good about everything at the time. And I looked over and I saw my shadow on the wall, and I looked and I flexed. And I did the flex. And my wife says, she goes, "Are you doing the Patrick Bateman?" I said, "Yes."
What do you think that chainsaw's for?
I'm telling you, my wife loves me for what I am. I don't give a fuck. I do what I do, man.
Tonight, give her the old Clit Clisser. I can't even say it regularly. I can't say it. I don't even know what the words are. I can't even say clit kisser.
I know, you can't even say the first half of the tongue twister. Clit kisser is a tongue twister. Anyway, holy cow. Okay, we put in our hour, I think. We put in our fucking hour. I think we should do our movie now. Oh.
Yeah.
Whew.
Let's do it.
Let's do some crazy.
The Hills have. Oh wait, which one are we doing? First,
let's do
obviously The Hills.
Let's go in order. The Hills.
Show The Hills.
Did you ever see that show? I never watched it. I just knew that it was on MTV when MTV became a turd. You know.
Never saw it, but I just knew that there was a show called The Hills.
Right. Yeah, me too.
I can't hear him.
I don't know what he's doing. I don't know.
Were you actually singing?
I'm doing the Sound of Music.
Oh, The Hills are alive.
You do it audibly? Did you hear him?
Audibly?
He's just a.
Yeah.
What the fuck's he doing?
It's cutting out. Yeah.
Quit kissing?
What, did it break up?
Yeah.
I didn't hear you. I heard like he's like.
Yeah, I went, the hills are alive, 'cause the hills have eyes. All right, the hills have eyes. On the way to California, a family has the misfortune to have their car break down in an area closed to the public and inhabited by violent savages ready to attack. Written and directed by the one, the only, Wes Craven.
Yeah, Cravenites. People voted on Cravenites, on Craven films, because honestly, we picked a bad year to go back to the old format. So we're putting different stuff out there for fun. So thanks for voting. Here we are.
This gives us some time to get some new movies coming out too. So it works in that as well. Because there's some cool ones coming out next month. It'll be interesting. Next month we've got Spiral. We got the Quiet Place 2 as well.
They're coming out theaters
in May. Or HBO Max or whatever they're doing, like the dual thing, I believe.
Interesting.
I believe.
Okay.
Spiral definitely is. I didn't hear anything about Quiet Place 2, but that's cool.
Spiral I could stay at home and watch. Quiet Place I'd go to the theater. See, I'm selective. I'm not going to go for everything. I like the option. I'll say it again. You know, some movies I want to see at the theater. Some movies it doesn't make a difference. Like Spiral might be a shit, and I wasn't overly impressed with the last two Saw movies. So it's like, well, you know. But anyway, that's a whole other story.
Remember, here is another great example. The show will drop by the time you hear this, but we were talking about Amityville Horror last week or last show, and it's considered a classic by some. I just think it's good. Here we are again. This is considered a classic by some, or maybe even more, and I just think it's good.
Yeah, but you also thought the original Child's Play is the weakest in the franchise, which is absurd.
Yeah, I'm not alone with that, and
you should be alone.
That's just the reality of it.
You should be alone.
Yeah.
You don't think? Wait a minute. Hold on. You don't think you're alone? You don't think that you're alone in the fact that you think Child's Play is the weakest of the whole franchise? I think you are there, my friend. I'm sorry. Like Seed of Chucky and shit like that. I don't think anyone considers fucking...
No. Oh, no. I didn't say it, but I said Seed of Chucky was worse. And
okay.
Yeah, I said that.
I misunderstood.
I'm saying...
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I'm not saying it's the worst in the franchise. I said I don't like it. I actually like 2 and 3 more. And actually Curse and Cult, for that matter.
That's fair. Okay. Yeah, just... All right.
And I did watch the remake since, and I like the remake more, too. Or the reboot.
Good lord.
Yeah.
I like the remake.
Just a notch above. Just a notch above.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Just a notch.
It's a good one. Just a notch. Just a notch.
The Hill. Again, people put this up on a pedestal. They say it's one of the scariest of the 70s. Nope. It could be up there, I guess, but there's so many other movies that come to mind before this one comes to me.
People say that?
Yeah, for sure. You don't think so?
I don't know about scary, but I think that they, people do love it, and that's fine.
Do you guys see me? I'm sorry, my camera cut out for a second. You see me? Okay.
Yeah, we do.
I don't know. You know what? I thought I wasn't going to enjoy it as much as I normally do, but it's got a charm to it. But I do agree with Christian that, man, just the look of it. Early Wes Craven had that look. Even
Last House.
Last House. Yeah, thank you.
I know. Yeah, I
Last
knew
House.
where
They
you
just
were
look
going.
like they were filmed 20 years before they were.
Well, okay, so the version I watched was the one on Shudder. I don't know if that's what you watched, Brandon. It was very gritty, like grittier. Like Texas Chainsaw to me, when I grew up, always seemed gritty, and that's what added to kind of like that almost documentary-esque feeling to it. And I could almost say the same thing about this, but this looked almost muddy and messy. I'm like, this looks really bad. And then everybody was raving, or I read everybody raving about the Arrow Blue. And Dave, you said the Arrow Blue looked okay. Did you actually do the comparison to the Shudder version of Blue?
I should
or
have.
no?
I should have. And no, I did not watch it after. I was getting up notes tidied for the show today, and then I went to bed by the time it was over. But I will watch it. I mean, I know that I trust you. What you guys are saying, I'm sure it does look shitty. Sometimes they do on Shudder and other places. Like that one movie looked fucked. Oh, what was that movie? That Bigfoot movie.
Boggy Creek.
Yes, The Legend of Boggy Creek was on one of those places streaming, and it looked like ass back in like a few years ago.
You could barely make out what's going on in that movie.
Dude, it's terrible. So I mean, I don't think that The Hills is that bad, but if the two both
this
said,
almost has that grindhouse exploitation look almost intentionally. It's almost like Shudder put that version up there, like that looks gritty and grainy and worn.
Let me ask you this.
Like they dragged the film through the desert. It really looks. I'm not making I'm joking, but it really does look.
We ain't finding shit.
Rough. Comb the desert. We ain't found shit.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you this. When it gets to nighttime in the Shudder transfer, does it improve?
You can't see anything then.
Oh. So that's to me, that's the people under the stairs. You can't see shit. The movie's so fucking dark. But anyway, I'll get to that. But
you can't say that.
What?
It's a very dark movie.
Anyway, I found it was very muddy, which again kind of can lead to its turn. But I was shocked because I heard about this cleanup, and I assumed it was the Arrow transfer to Shudder because they've done that before. But well, I believe that I read it wasn't. It was the old Blu-ray, which looked like shit then.
And I have that old Blu-ray, and it's still in the package. I got to look into it and see. Oh, who
Send
the hell?
Send it to Ryan Turek.
Fucking Ryan Turek. Oh boy, don't start that. Okay, the Arrow looked good, not great. It obviously it's got to be cleaned up. The thing about the Arrow is that it was a big thick box and it came with everything, like special features galore, a big thick booklet. They really did a great job, like they do Arrow, like Arrow will tend to do. So it is a really good presentation. It's obviously the best it's ever going to be seen, unless they can find a. I can't imagine that they're going to come along and do a 4K of it and somehow restore it even more, because
does it need a 4K though?
Arrow.
Honestly?
I'm just saying, if somebody wants to have it even the best picture possible, is all I'm saying, because typically it's looked bad. So I mean, Arrow did, I think, as good a job as you can do restoring it. Again, it's I
don't
can't.
Think you want. I don't think you want it too cleaned up. I don't think I would even upgrade. I mean, I don't upgrade everything anyway, but I don't think like that's a movie where I'd want it fully cleaned up. Then it just looks like a modern day version of the film.
But if that's what it looked like. It's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I thought the same thing of that. I go, do we really want this or that? And the steelbook that I have of that, which is a 4K scan, I think makes it look great. It makes it look great, but it still retains the grittiness somehow. Like, it's the best version of it, but it still has that documentary-esque feeling. This would just seem like muddy, bad filmmaking. That's what I was thinking when I was watching it, but I wasn't letting it get to me because I hadn't watched it in a while. But there's a lot of unintentional humor. I think Craven really likes to fill his movies. Well, we know this by now. He likes to fill his movies with these comedic bits, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. And I know I'm going to be in the minority here, but it was a mixed bag for me on this one. Like I liked, get that tenderloin, baby. That made me laugh.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I feel like the unintentional humor that doesn't work for me is like when the father, is set on fire, and then they extinguish him, they put him down on the ground, and he exhales the smoke, and it looks like a cigar blew up in his face, like in a Looney, like a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Yeah.
Like
I was going to bring that up.
Like there was
he
going to
went
be
in
smoke
the
coming out of
smoke
his
ring came out or something. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
And he looks goofy, and he's like, it's almost like you expect birds to be, flying around his head.
Yeah.
Wow.
And unfortunately, what probably seemed realistic there, this is one of those ones that, some movies stand the test of time, and other people have said that this holds up. But the costumes are so ridiculous. I don't know, these look like nomads, or I don't know what they fucking look like. They look like assholes. Like, even the remake got it better. The remake in 2006, they just wore clothes that they got from people that they killed and terrorized before they got there, like an old hoodie or a ripped pair of jeans or something like that. This one, they're wearing like frickin' like they look like tribal shit, and it just didn't
make sense.
Like
Makes
a fur
sense.
coat.
They're primitive.
Like a
They're
mink
almost like
coat.
cavemen
Right.
looking. I don't mind that. I don't mind that for this at all.
They look like cavemen looking that you just went to a costume store to buy caveman looking attire. I don't know. I'm going to be in the minority, guys. I'm going to be in the minority with that. I was like, come on, they look ridiculous.
But there's fur here. Look at it this way. The fur. It gets cold in the desert at night. These people don't have any. I mean, whatever shelter they have. But I mean, these are people that are always living out in this area. It makes sense that they're gonna, wear things with fur on them.
Yeah, somebody should have been wearing Beauty at the end, and using Beauty's head as like a hood.
You're right.
That would have been a cool scene. Yeah.
Oh, it's not even a joke. I agree. They
no, I'm not making a joke. I'm making add to it. But
yeah.
You know what movie I really want to see? I want to see the movie about the father as a cop in Cleveland. Because he talks about the black people shooting bows and arrows at him, and he talks about people throwing dogs off roofs at him. I want to see somebody throw a dog off a roof at a cop.
And him specifically.
Yeah.
Yes. All that shit talking he was doing.
Am I mistaken, or is the 2006 or whatever year the newer version is the scene where the mother and daughter are killed? Is it much more sexualized?
Yes.
It is. Okay.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I like about this one. That it's not.
I was gonna say exactly.
That's what's great about this movie. It's not. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not exploitive in a way. It could have gone further. When you're watching the things happen
for sure,
in that trailer, especially after The Last House on the Left, but it wasn't done gratuitously. It seems more realistic and not over the top. I mean, the characters obviously are a little over the top, but they would be. So when they're acting out and they're doing all that stuff, and they drink the bird blood and all that, that's fine. But I like the fact that they kind of held back on the sex stuff where they could have easily gone overboard, which we see in the remake.
I agree.
Yeah. We don't need to see that. And to me, this is one of these movies that is like, it seems horrifically real. Yeah. When I could see this happening. It's not overdone. I don't know. It just seems
to a certain no. It does to a certain degree, but again, I think it's my falling out of love with Craven, because I used to hold him in a high regard, and I just don't. It's there to a certain degree, but I feel like he overdoes it. And again, time has not been kind, I guess, to this, in my opinion, and I just don't find them that scary. So any bit of realism with the way they talk back and forth and whatever, I just think is kind of ruined. And it becomes less scary, and it's a little bit more fragmented. So I don't know.
But wait, who talks? The family or the Hill family?
The Hill family.
Okay, yeah, but they're supposed to be fucking loony. And they're not over the top loony. They're not like the Firefly family or something. Think about that. We saw House of a Thousand Corpses in 2000. Look at the way those people act and talked. This isn't in that level. This is how you would expect people that lived out in this area to be. Just fucking weirdos.
Is it? I wouldn't expect that. Like cannibalistic.
They know nothing. Well, look at their father. The story we hear, and again, that's a touch I really like about this movie that was completely ignored in the remake. And I'm not knocking the remake, but they left it out in the remake that we find out that this Fred guy is the father of Papa Jupiter. So this Papa Jupiter comes out there. He's the only one there. He kidnaps, this guy's words is that he kidnaps a whore, makes him his wife, and then they breed this family right? So there's inbreeding, there's this and that. So all these people know as their parents is this fucking lunatic Papa Jupe who probably runs the show. So how do you expect them to come up? They're going to be wackadoos just like him. And he was born crazy.
He was a 20-pound baby and he was hairy as a monkey.
Right. That's where I see it making sense. That
I like when the father walks in and he's like,
this
is what you do? You hang yourself?
Yeah. That was some great unintentional comedy. He goes,
What's the line? What's the line?
I have it written down. It's so, of course he goes, you always stop trespassers by hanging yourself.
That was a good line. You always...
That's so funny. That scene was great, man. Oh. And how about the girl with the French fries? And she literally the line was, she goes, we'll be French fried human. No, we'll be French fried. Human French fries. And then the other woman gets mad about it. She goes, we are not going to be French fries, she said.
That's actually funny. Yeah.
I
don't remember that, but yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I remember the French fry talk.
Then later on, she brought it up again. We're gonna be frozen French fries stuck to the side of this RV or something. Like
yeah.
I love.
Why doesn't Dee Wallace ever get the credit for being probably the Scream Queen extraordinaire? She's been in more horror films, in my opinion, than the ones that we give Scream Queen status to.
Amen. You're right. She does get overlooked. 100%.
Really? Like she's in a shit ton of old school and then in a resurgence of horror films in the last 10 years as well.
How about Sonny Bono playing her husband?
Who?
Bo Rat.
Bo Rat played her husband. Oh, wow.
Oh, her husband looked like Sonny Bono. Doug.
Oh, him. Oh, yeah. You rock my new Sonny Bono wig.
You're buying me a new plate covering.
A plastic one this time.
A paper one.
Paper. What Fangoria was that? Because I have them all. See? Do you remember?
I see. Which one was the paper plate?
I can't wait to come across it naturally when we're doing this.
I don't recall now. There's posts from way back when. I don't remember though.
Well, I'll get to it eventually. By episode 500, I'll get to that. Oh boy. So, man, I've always really enjoyed this movie, and I still do. I thought maybe I was gonna come down, and I didn't. I really enjoy it. It seems very real to me. The horror that happens, it doesn't seem as contrived as other movies. It's just.
I agree with that. The only thing it needs better music.
I don't care about the music. It was fine.
Oh no, it kind of throws you off. No, but it turns into almost like heist type music. Especially when in the third act, when it really kicks into gear, when Doug and Beast are like going hunting, it almost becomes like a heist film. And I'm like, this is very off-putting.
I agree with both statements. I agree with the horror being it's well presented, and B, something about the music. And it's funny because I don't like the music of People Under the Stairs either. And it's, I think, the same composer who came in to quote unquote save the day in People Under the Stairs. And I think that's very generic.
I agree.
So
90s.
But
this could be part of our skit movie, but it's a Hills Have Eyes skit where the brother and the sister, they're actually standing on their heads with their thumbs up their asses.
You're right. And that is a good scene too. And at that time, you would have fell for it in '77, especially the way the lines were delivered initially. You would have thought that they got through to somebody.
Yeah, no, it was really well done.
Yes, it was.
They were well spoken, the Hill family, for as savage as they were.
In that scene, especially, yes.
Yeah.
No, that's okay.
Even Papa Jupiter having his talk with all the kids, like he's a survivor. He's intelligent in the sense that he knows how to hunt and how to kill. So when he's telling them, here's what we need to do, like it's very methodical and well thought out, and it's like scary because of course they're gonna have the upper hand. They live in the hills. They know everything.
Certainly. No, I dig it. And the deaths, you care about the characters. I think they're sad deaths.
I love the deaths in this film. I think they're great.
They're emotional.
They are emotional.
their significant others pass away right there, man. And the way they handle it, the way the grandmother is handling it at first with her, with him being killed in the desert, being gone, and how she loses her cool, and then later on,
That's not my Bob.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
Hey, Ethel, whose fucking Bob is it? This is your Bob. Trust me. That's also going to be in our movie. Except it's gonna be crazy, Ethel.
from Nightmare from Friday 5?
Yeah, from Friday 5, not this Ethel. It's gonna be that.
And it'll be Junior.
Yeah, that's not my Junior. And then Dave's gonna drop his pants and be like, "This is your Junior," and then he's gonna flog her with his dick.
And then she's gonna say, "Will you shut the fuck up?"
No, then she'll say, "Will you choke me?" And be like, "I hate it with all this fucking choking."
No clue.
Oh man.
Yeah, what the fuck? I have no idea what just happened.
I don't know, but when Dee Wallace passes away, that's really sad.
Oh,
dude, her husband
yeah.
comes
The husband's really good in this. Doug is really good in this.
Yeah. You really feel for him.
Yeah, you feel for everyone. They do a good job. I like that the sister sort of loses her mind for a while and then just sort of kind of comes back to reality when she realizes that, they got to fight in order to survive.
They do good. And then they do the booby traps. The Wes Craven patented booby traps for every movie.
Booty traps?
No, not that again. Booty. Yeah,
that's
booty
what
traps.
I said!
Yeah, that is what he said the first time, too. Yes. Oh, Maroon.
God, these guys.
But yeah, he does do all these, whatchamacallits, these booby traps in every movie. It's funny, you'd think he would do them more in the next movie because it's a perfect opportunity to have a bunch of them, but it doesn't happen. Either way, what they do is typical Craven at the end when they have the car and they do the freaking Jason Part 2 thing. This time you actually see them pull the thing, so we know why the guy gets strung up and dragged. You think it's too ridiculous? This is the
start of the Cravenisms. It's the start of the Cravenisms right at from the get-go. I love how he has the families or the innocents exact revenge. Like I think that's like from Last House on the Left carried over the Hills Have Eyes. I love that aspect of it. I always feel like they come up with these most cockamamie ideas. Like I don't know if it seems so overly elaborate for what they need to do, but. Again, maybe just me, like setting up the axle with the car wheel and everything else and trying to pull them and it just seems a little too much.
I don't think so.
Well, it separates itself from the other movies that are out at the time.
I wish they had done the kill fully that way, like where he gets sucked into the car, almost because if they didn't do that, which they didn't, then they needed to have the fight scene a little bit longer. And maybe even have Doug die in the fight, the brother die in the fight.
That'd be okay. I don't mind more.
Because the fight was almost too short-lived.
Yeah. And it was.
Because I know they had 2 bullets left, but it's I don't know. The 2 bullets shouldn't have been enough to stop Papa Jupiter, especially the way they present him when he kills his father. When he kills Fred at the beginning, you're almost this is a mongoloid. This is you can't put this guy down with a bullet.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Right. That's true.
But why not? Why not? Again, I know I'm arguing when I will defend the Jason theories but again, it's you get what you're presented, and I don't know something about this. Like I said, I like the family. I like the horror that they go through. The deaths of the dog. It's horrific, and the fact that Beast is sort of heroic and is probably the biggest hero of the bunch. I love all that shit. That stuff's great.
Yeah, when he hunts down Pluto, especially that they do it in 2 scenes. He gets him, he attacks him, and then you think he's safe, and Berryman's looking back, and he's just stalking him, waiting. You actually see them run by, and he's just sitting there and lying there and wait. Beast. It's almost unintentionally funny. You just see him sitting there behind the weeds, waiting.
Plotting, yes. That's funny. Isn't it weird though in the 70s how many of these horror movies had dog attacks in them? We were just talking about a dog attack and he was seeing the fake dog head in Amityville when he's attacking the guy and then Suspiria.
He's attacking him at first and then he's helping him out. Yeah, Suspiria. Right. Maybe it was Animals Gone Wild.
Yeah, lots of dog attacks. I'm sure there's more, but for some reason, dogs in horror movies were responsible for some deaths. It's like a lost art. You know, you don't see it now. They're just victims. Poor guys. You know, they always die. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes
They
it's
always.
not. You know, but I don't
So
know.
I
think
followed this up. It's all right. It's based all right, and I followed this up with Hills of Ice Part 2. What a fucking turd. I don't care. I know Craven's disowned the film, but he still wrote and directed that movie. And I know that they said they ran out of money, but that doesn't excuse what we see, what we still have. I don't care. Like, if you only got 2/3 of the movie done, that's 2/3 of shit.
It's too hard on Craven. People are way too hard on Craven.
I agree, and I'll tell you.
I used to love Craven, but part 2 of this movie is
garbage.
A perfect
it's
example
garbage.
of the lows. Yeah, but he has these highs and lows. Now, his highs are good highs, like Last House on the Left. For some people, Hills Have Eyes, Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream, but his lows, like, holy shit, like some of the worst of the worst.
Yeah, but people even people on the stairs, Shocker, some people like Deadly Friend, even the bad movies.
Deadly Friend's a turd.
I know, but some people still enjoy these films. All I'm saying is you did New Nightmare, you did Nightmare on Elm Street, you did Scream, Hills Have Eyes, Last House on the Left. You're Scream 4. You're a horror master to me. I don't care about your turds. I know everyone.
And you're right.
You know, this
You're
is
right
what
to
it
a
is.
degree, but his lows are very. That's all I'm saying. I said his highs are high and his lows, holy shit.
I don't think his lows are that bad, except Hills 2. Like, I look at it like this: what 22 Shots put out their top 50 directors show not too long ago, and recently, Dave Parker put out a thing where he tallied as a group everyone that was on the show, like kind of how we did with our top 100, and then we had an aggregate one for the three of us. And their top 5 directors, it was weird. It doesn't usually happen this way with me. But the top 5 directors that came out were also my top 5 when I thought about it. Not in the same order, but like on their top 5, this is who was there: Carpenter, Romero, Argento, Cronenberg, and Craven. And I thought about it, and I would say Craven is my number 5. And the thing is, to me, his lows, I could still watch them. I could still sit and watch Deadly Friend and Shocker. Maybe, just maybe, it's just for nostalgia because at the age when I saw them. I'm not ruling that out. I don't think they're good movies, but I would rather watch them than some of the really bad ones from like Tobe Hooper or some other directors.
Tobe.
I introduced a new way. Yes, there's Tobe. There's
Tobe.
Toby. Now there's Tobe.
Was that intentional?
No.
That wasn't intentional.
I don't know why I said that, but now I started
Christian, why didn't you jump on that? I thought that was intentional, like Tobe.
No, I'm slow now all of a sudden. But
I've been listening to this album this past week, all week long. It's called the Wrestling Album from the early 80s. It's a wrestling theme song. In the middle of it, Vince McMahon is talking to Gene Okerlund and Jesse Ventura, and they say, who produced something like that? And Vince McMahon looks at these papers and he says, I got it right here. And he says, Mona Flambe. So anyway, because I had Mona Flambe in my head because I listened to that album like 3 times this week, I said Tobe. I'm telling you. That's how my brain works. I had something swimming around in there. And fucking Tobe.
Tobe.
Like, think about it. Think about a lot of directors' lows and how bad. Think about like Christian. I'm not gonna ask you to name your.
He was right. He was in my top 3 as a kid. I have references to him in the movies I made growing up. Wes Craven was, in a sense, one of my heroes. As I got older, I just started falling out of a lot of the movies that even Scream now to me, although I rated it a 10 last year, something about it. It's not something doesn't hold up the way it used to. Whereas Nightmare on Elm Street, the first Nightmare.
That's the problem.
Yeah, but I've seen Nightmare on Elm Street a million times too, and I still
Nightmare on
love
Elm Street will never get old.
I agree. It will never get old. It's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I agree. I 100%. You can't take any, and I'm not taking anything away from Scream either. The Scream thing, and it's going to sound shitty. I'm tired of hearing about it. It's referenced, it's discussed, it's put on the Halloween 78 pedestal or the Friday the and in my opinion, again, I also gave it a 10 out of 10, but for some reason I just don't equate it with those other movies. Not even Nightmare on Elm Street. No. You know what I mean? So it's just like I'm just tired of hearing about it because it's like, but I understand because it's the one thing that people from the millennials they can hang their hat on that proudly, and it got them into the genre. But here's the weird thing, like I was considering this Fangoria collection, I was considering going after a little bit after after issue, because the guy sent me up to 158, and funny enough. It was an extra one. 56 and 57 did not come, but he sent me a 58, right? So I decided I was going to fill in the gap, so now it's 1 to 158. But interestingly enough, issue 158, it says, first news, Wes Craven's Scream. And that's the first time it appears in print on Fangoria. And I said to myself, you know what? This seems to me like a good place to end it. Because as bad as the early 90s were, and I'm not an advocate of it, there was still some good trickle down that was still good in the early 90s. But I hate to say it, but Scream came and it was great. But I definitely think that 97 to 99 was way worse than the early 90s. Scream didn't save anything. Horror got really shitty after Scream, worse than it was before Scream. And I didn't think about it till now. But I said that's like the appropriate time for me to stop. Right when Scream came, that's when the horror didn't die for permanently, but Scream came out and it was great. Then you had those knockoffs,
well, that's to me though. I'm a slasher fan, so those knockoffs in a theater were fine by me. So I lapped them all up. Urban Legend Valentine, Urban Legend Final Cut. I lapped them up at Scream 2. Like at that time, that was enough. I'm like, here we go. Like shades of the early 80s. Again, but slashers were back in the theater. So again, maybe not saved. We weren't getting like breakthrough films that maybe we're talking about in the last 10 years. But at that time, I was going back to the theater and enjoying myself.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Would you rather
I was masturbating in the
theater? Would you rather go back and watch fucking Urban Legend and I Know What You Did Last Summer, or would you rather go back and watch random slashers from the early 80s that were okay? Like
typically I would go back and watch the random slashers from the early 80s. Like that's what I usually would go to. Yeah.
But this is what I'm saying. That's the problem. Those slashers, pardon me, they were filled with these beautiful people. Everything was really clean looking. They had these not good soundtracks. There was no gore. And again, I don't care about TNA in horror movies. I know a lot of people do, but there was no TNA in these movies. They're not good movies. I don't think Urban Legend, and it's just one man's opinion, but I don't think Urban Legend and I Know What You Did Last Summer can compare to the stuff that came in the early slashers boom, even the generic slashers. I just don't think they compare. When you look back at them now and watch them, I think it was a low point for horror. And even if those movies are good, or anything else that was coming out at that time, 97 to 99 for the most part.
I understand what you're saying. I really like Urban Legend. I'm a really big fan of it, but I think it doesn't compare in the sense that the early 80s stuff, even the lesser known stuff, less popular stuff, had a horror element to it that these newer polished ones don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just don't. So that to me, that it's perfect for me to stop at that issue. When Scream came into the world, I thought about seeing the aftermath of Scream, but I'm going to keep collecting these Fangorias for the next 10 issues just because I want to hear what people say about Scream. I know what people say about Scream. Even at the time, they were probably blowing it. And I was too. I remember saying, finally, the best slasher I've seen in years. That was the excitement of Scream.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember seeing a good slasher since like 1990 at the time. I was like, wow, where have they been? And now they're back. But they weren't back. A movie was back. You know what I mean? But again, I'm not knocking it.
I don't know.
They're too polished. They're great, but they're too polished. Whereas
I like that though. I like the fact it was like they put production value into a subgenre that I liked. I get it. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying because I already referenced. I would go back and watch the ones that I grew up with in the early 80s and random ones. But something about the polished nature and production value into the subgenre that I loved was welcoming to me. And so I do have a soft space in my heart for them, but I will agree with you that they're that they're not my go-tos, but I watch them.
You got a
They're in
soft
the
spot in your
rotation.
head.
Well, I do when it comes to the movie we're supposed to be talking about that we somehow got off of. But yeah, I don't see the classic status. I'm at that 7 out of 10 range. I think it's good. I think there's enough enjoyable to be had there. I think there's a rawness to it that you guys have both mentioned, and some of that comes through the Korean filmmaking, but it doesn't resonate with me as sheer terror or like some of these things that I'm hearing people put on a pedestal. I just don't feel that. Whereas I do feel that with things like Texas Chainsaw, The Exorcist, etc.
Oh yeah, it's
Cult
not
of
on that
Chucky.
level. It's not on that level, but I think it's better than a lot of other movies like it with a family in peril. You know, it's not a slasher, but I mean, it's one of those. It just seems real life to me, and the production values are better than a lot of like.
I believe we call this motorhome invasion.
Yeah, MHI. It's one of those MHI thrillers from the 70s. But I mean, look at a lot of 70s movies and the production value. It just, I don't know, like watch like Toolbox Murders or some shit like that.
I love Toolbox Murders. I like that 70s grit and sleaze to it.
Okay, but I mean, this has grit and sleaze, but still looks well. Okay, the copy you watched on Shudder, aside, looks bad. But I mean, when I watched this movie on the Blue last night, it seemed like it's better made, has better production values, and it wasn't too gratuitous. Like a lot of those movies were just trying to be as shocking as possible. It became the thing to do. Remember how bad the 70s were? And I mean bad in a good way, where they kept trying to outdo each other with, let's make this as vile as possible. And I respect that this movie, I have fear for the people. I care about the people. I don't have any issues with it. Of course, it's not on the level of a Texas Chainsaw or anything like that. You know what, though? Something funny. I think I made a connection between this movie and Devil's Rejects, of all things. And it didn't occur to me until last night. You know that scene when Pluto goes in there and he wants to get with the woman, and then who's the older brother? Mercury or one of them guys? Whatever it is.
You gotta be a man to do that.
Yes.
Mars.
Okay, so Mars tells him that. Jupe gets all fucking pissed off. Pardon me, Pluto. Pluto gets all pissed off. Yes, throws his temper tantrum. Obviously, this could have been his chance. He's sexually frustrated, right? So now I think about that, the fact that he's sexually frustrated, and I believe that in 2005, they say they put that scene on for a reason, where when they go to the chicken fucker guy, and he tells Ken Faree, and he goes, I don't know about you. He goes, but that guy you're with, he looks sexually frustrated. He might want to fucking cut off the head of a chicken and fuck it. You get what I'm saying? I think the whole sexual frustration thing, I think that was a nod at his character in this movie for being sexually frustrated. I didn't think about it until last night. So
now that you bring it up, I'm probably still not going to think about it.
Wow. It's just a Dave Z-ism. It's just one of those things I see. I'm like, well,
yeah,
it's kind of
Flanaganisms, Dave Z-isms, Crave-isms, fucking Christian and his isms. It's fucking jisms.
Christian jisms. Nice.
Tobey-isms.
Tobey. Yes, I would like to order a Tobey.
Tobey or not Tobey?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think it's violent enough and shocking enough without being, like you said, overly gratuitous. Yeah. And it tells an interesting enough story where you care about everyone, and the kills in the third act are rewarding enough, and the way it just ends is, shocking and sort of, upsetting. It stays with you for a little bit. So I enjoyed very much. I don't think I've ever put this on the pedestal of being, the greatest movie ever, but it's a solid 8 out of 10, and I think it'll always be in that range for me.
I echo everything you said, including the rating. 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
100% with you. That's how I feel. I don't think it's the greatest fucking thing ever, but I think it's a great movie, and I think it deserves the attention that it gets when people talk about, this movie and Craven in general. I think after Nightmare and Scream, this is probably his third third best. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
And I get it. He does have lows. He has made bad films, but most directors do. And people were.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the problem. Most people were like you, Christian. You know, when he first started, were like, Craven's the best, and then some of his later stuff, they're like, oh, Craven's overrated. And now I'm at the point now where I'm like, Craven's underrated because everyone's saying he's so overrated. I'm like, get out of here.
I'm not saying he's underrated. He's just followed for me, but I can't deny the sheer, like, look at the influence he had. Even if you look, Last House on the Left spawned that in a remake. Hills Have Eyes spawned a sequel and a remake and a sequel. I'm just like Nightmare on Elm Street. We know it created an icon and mini sequels and remakes. Shocker was Deadly Friend and Shocker, of course, were like, you know, in between
Shocker
movies.
Created my go-to move
on himself. Vampire in Brooklyn, but Scream again. Another franchise. Like you got to give him credit for that. I get it. I'm just saying, like, overall, he went from being, I had him on a pedestal, to being more middling in a good way. Like, I mean, a lot of 7 out of 10s. So maybe that's not middling. That's a step above, but more 7 out of 10s for me, I think. And then with a couple that are boosted up there, for sure.
Okay, here's a homework assignment. Next show. Next show, have your top 5 directors. I'd like to know where he places. I can tell you my top 5 right now. And
I think when we started this episode, or when we started this show, we named our top 5 directors in the first episode or so. And I'm pretty sure Craven was in there.
Has it changed for you now? Is what I'm saying.
I'll go through it. But when you guys made the argument, and when I just went through the influence as well, it's going to be hard. But I'll go back, because you got some new heavy hitters in there now but again, how do I leverage 2 films against
I can't yet.
like a whole resume of. And you're right, yeah, like I am putting a lot of weight when I say, oh my God, The Hills Have Eyes 2 and Deadly Friend. I will still watch Deadly Friend and Shocker. I will. I know I will too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's kind of
like
Maximum Overdrive to me, or something like that. Like I will watch them.
But look at Hooper and look at Romero and look at I don't know. You may think Cronenberg never had a miss. I don't know. I'm just saying. Everybody has some misses.
Yeah. Cronenberg, I'm not a big fan of, like, there's no point to get into that, because we could.
Maybe next.
No, I have.
No, but even some of the other stuff that's not mentioned, like, I mean, I don't personally like Swamp Thing, but Swamp Thing, Deadly Blessing, I don't think I've actually ever seen. Summer of Fear, like, these are stuff people like, and you know, they're not classics by any means, but
look at Carpenter. Yeah. Carpenter has some low-hanging fucking fruit too. You know what I mean? They all do. People will say that about Argento. Me personally, not so much. That's why he's my favorite, because I think he's the most steady. I know not everyone's gonna agree with that, but I just Eddie. Say, you know.
That's hilarious.
Get that fucking cat out of there.
He's a happy cat. No, look at him now. Now he's chilling. See?
Yeah, now he's chilling.
No more needy. Yeah. He's chilling. His purr's not too
stolen.
Look at him.
It was when he was in the microphone box, but he's fine now.
He's a big purr.
Box.
He's a happy boy. The microphone fiend. All right. All right. I'm gonna try to bang.
Someone else is gonna die now.
I'm gonna try to bang through these 2. I hope I can. We'll see what happens though, because we got another one to do. So check it out. Issue 4.
Star Trek. Nothing's just horror like Star Trek.
I know. Well, again, they don't change their format. They're still a fantasy sci-fi horror until I'm gonna get to it soon. I think it's 8 or 9 where it officially says they're just gonna be. I don't know if they say it, but that's where I know as a fan of them that they reached their point when they said, okay, we're changing the format. We're not going to be promoting this type of stuff anymore, because this is the early days. So anyway, okay. So I'm going to read the opening thing here. It's a little diatribe, but I find these quite interesting in some of them, the opening page. And this is really cool. So this is issue 4, page 1. Well, actually page 4, but whatever. Okay, it's taking me a minute, but drink it up. This is cool. In a few short weeks, it will be 1980, the beginning of a new decade. Here at the Fangoria offices, we're looking to the 80s with great anticipation. The 70s were kind of boring toward the end, but the 80s look like they're going to be frightfully fun. It seems like there's going to be some new ground broken in horror films. The fascination with science fiction has run out of steam, and we are now ready to get back to basics. Horror is at it again. This certainly comes as no surprise to us Fangorians who've been patiently waiting for the sci-fi craze to run its course.
4 issues in, Fangorians. Balls on these guys.
They were right, though.
Episode 2, Headites.
Yeah. The balls of those guys.
Right, exactly.
Full of hatred.
The mere publication of this mag attests to the faith that the genre that the publishers have. A look at the past year's hit movies further illustrates the point. That's lucky. Okay. The summer's blockbusters were The Amityville Horror, Dracula, Prophecy, and Alien. Yes, Alien is a horror flick. The sci-fi elements generously added to the overall look of the film, but basically the whole thing was a monster movie with one of the greatest monsters yet. Amityville may not have been the best thing to come out of American International, which celebrated its 25th anniversary this year. 25 years of making lots of B horror movies. But the people wanted to sit there and get scared. Dracula's been done over and over, but moviegoers kept coming back for more and more. Prophecy begins to mind the 50s films, depicting monsters created by human tampering in the environment, though a lot of it was giant ants and spiders.
Put that cat back at the kid's house.
Oh, stop it. This time they're dealing with the real possibilities of mutations created by all the junk in the air and water. More recently, When a Stranger Calls has been scaring the wits out of America to the tune of earning better than $12.5 million in its first 24 days. Hollywood likes those numbers, especially when a film like Stranger costs so little to produce. No recent horror film points out the cost-benefit ratio better than John Carpenter's celebrated Halloween, produced for a measly $300,000, about 1/3 of what an episode of Battlestar Galactica cost. Wow. Halloween has to date grossed upwards of $50 million, making it the all-time moneymaker of all independently produced motion pictures. George Romero knows all about this kind of success also. With his Dawn of the Dead doing very well in Europe and the States, the original Night of the Living Dead has already earned a hefty $12 million, making the most of its $70,000 production cost. It just goes to show that you don't have to have also all sorts of fancy effects and big-name stars to make both a well-received and profitable movie. Almost there. This doesn't mean, though, that we're going to be inundated with cheapo, scary films. There was a lot of money and talent going into such productions as Stanley Kubrick's interpretation of Stephen King's The Shining, and Carpenter has a $1.5 million budget for his latest ghost tale, The Fog. And if you've been following Fangoria, especially Monster Invasion, you know that there's much to look forward to. Sure, there are going to be a certain amount of Attack of the Killer Porcupine types, but if the current interest keeps up, we're sure to see plenty of quality fright films in the next few years. In its 4 issues, Fango has reviewed some of the best and brightest in the field, the old masters and the up-and-coming. The 1980s are upon us, and the public has a renewed interest in going to the movies and simply being scared. You can be sure that Fangoria will be there too, keeping tabs on the trend, letting you know who's doing what and when, and taking you behind the cameras. We'll show you the good, the bad, and the horrible. We hope you stay with us as we venture into the 80s.
Wow, boy, did they get that wrong.
They were right the fuck on point, man. Isn't that great? They knew it. 1979, and just the trend of what was happening at that time. And they're like, yeah, things are turning for the better.
We got a horror movie going on wherever Christian is. What the fuck is going on in Canada? There's like a lunar eclipse every 2 seconds. Sometimes you're in the pitch black. Sometimes the sun comes out. What is going on?
What are you talking about?
Dave, I know you were reading, but look. It's getting dark. It gets light. Just watch his room.
It's like you. He's got a Brandon screen now. When he's pressing one button, He's bright, and when he's not, he's
I
not.
ain't pressing shit.
Sorry, buddy. Lucky. I gotta get this cat out.
Yeah, press that cat on out of that room.
Oh, he just wants to be part of the show. He is the official mascot, after all.
Show everyone his butthole.
I put a new Patreon level on like the non-lucky show, and it's the most popular tier now.
No, look at him.
No more cat talk.
He's probably gonna curl up right here and go to sleep. See, he's proud to be a part of this number.
The sooner the better. I'm gonna be the most hated. I'm trying to officially become the most hated host. I don't know if it's been official yet.
No, it's official.
Keep at it. Keep at it. And now we get into some Phantasm talk, beginning with this is cool. Some
Ravager talk.
Some Phantasm talk.
Yes, some Phantasm talk. Okay, cult follower. I haven't seen Phantasm yet, but I'm already quite berserk over it. That was one fantastic article, and the color picks just about made me want to cry. Finally, there's a new breed of directors who do what they want, rather than what they think they could, rather than what they wish they could. And at last, there's a magazine with nerve enough to cover what's being done. Perhaps you would consider doing an article on Rocky Horror, another taboo subject for most horror mags. So again, getting towards the change in the genre, new directors coming in. And here we go. The tall guy. Great thanks for the stories on Phantasm and myself and Fangoria. All of us associated with the film are delighted by your first-rate writing and resplendent pictorial treatments on us, and indeed.
First-rate writing, second-rate reading here.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
All of the terrific features in your eye-catching issue number 2. The tall man has virtually abandoned his former nefarious pursuits since his cover appearance, whilst he sends out photos and copies of Fangoria to model agencies. He now sits hourly by the phone in expectation that Playgirl will almost certainly call him. The tall man also has issued an ultimatum to D.A. Coscarelli and AFCO Embassy Films that they provide him with a love interest for Phantasm 2. After all, he insists, the Frankenstein monster had one in his second film. Things just aren't the same right now around the mortuary. Angus Scrim, a.k.a. Rory Guy, Los Angeles, California. So, pretty cool.
That's cool, too.
Yeah, that is cool. And then, another one, praise from pros. Here we go. Saw your article on Fangoria number 2, and along with Angus Scrim and Mike Baldwin, we're very pleased. Your publication looks very slick, and the writing is top-notch. As of this time, a sequel to Phantasm is in the works again, and I will not be directing it. Thank you, and I hope I will have another film in which your magazine might be interested in the near future. Don Coscarelli, Long Beach, California. So,
nice.
Yeah, good on them, writing in and,
So I wonder what happened to that Phantasm. Obviously, he got put on the back burner, and then he did Beastmaster, and did he do something else in between as well? And then Phantasm 2 in '88, and he ended up directing it.
I don't know. We'll have to get into it. I guess when by the time I get to 88 in these books, in these magazines, we'll see what did happen, because it certainly was a long time. You're right. And there you go. That's about that. And now, speaking of Phantasm, there's something that happened in issue 2 that I forgot to tell you guys about, and it's actually kind of cool. It just takes a second to talk about, and it's oh.
I'm kidding.
Okay. Hold on. I forgot to tell you this. Okay, one of Coscarelli's worries over the picture was that some people might find too much visual similarity between the hooded dwarves and the Jawas creatures in Star Wars. We first started shooting in April of 1977, about a month before Star Wars came out, and one of the first scenes filmed was Dwarf jumping on Mike's back. A few weeks later, somebody comes in and says, "Hey, I just saw that new science fiction picture, and they've got a thing in there that looks just like the one of your dwarfs. Now somebody just told me they've got yellow blood in Alien." So apparently, and it was true. So they did these things prior to doing that, and then they found out after. So anyone that's ever wondered, there you go, right from the horse's mouth. Coscarelli. So, all right, what else we got in here? Page 20. Okay. Oh yeah, okay. There was an article in about the Wizard of Gore himself, Herschel Gordon Lewis, and they were talking about some filmmaking things that happened, and I found this story kind of humorous. When we were shooting Color Me Blood Red, there's a scene where we dig up this girl, and there's supposed to be worms crawling all over her. We shot the film in Sarasota, and we didn't know until the day before we were going to shoot that there are no worms in Sarasota. The soil is just too sandy. There are simply no worms to be had. So we went to a retirement village, and sure enough, here's a guy there who raises worms for a hobby. So he loaned us. He wouldn't sell us. He wouldn't sell us any worms. They were his pets. He loaned us 24 worms. We shot the scene that night. We didn't finish until 1:30 in the morning. Everyone was exhausted. We started gathering up the worms. We could only find 23 worms. One worm was missing. We're scrounging around through the sandy lawn, trying to find the other worms. So finally, someone in the crew says, "I'll give you 24 worms." And he took one worm with a knife and cut it in half. I said, "All right, friend, now you have 24 worms. You're the guy who's going to return them tomorrow." And he did, and nobody ever said anything. Maybe the fellow didn't look back to see he had 2 short worms in the batch.
Herschel Gordon Lewis, I've told this story. I've told you I met him. He came to the only Fangoria Weekend of Horrors in Toronto, which was in '91, and he was a guest. And what a gentleman! He was absolutely awesome. Because this is before he had to go line up anywhere. We just walked up and we were chatting with him, and he gave me his address. He wrote it on a card, and he gave me his Florida address at the time.
Really?
And when I told the story, I think he had just passed away, either a couple of months before.
It was nice of him to show up even after he passed away.
When I told the story originally on the show. The stain.
Man, that's a real gentleman to show up to Fangoria Awards even after he passed away.
Nothing about awards. There's nothing there about awards.
I don't know what the hell you saying, you clit kisser.
Now we can say it. No problem.
And now we can say it, right? That's cool though. He's a cool cat, huh?
Clit kisser's a tongue twister.
Clit kisser is a tongue twister. Clit kisser is a nope. Can't do it. That's funny.
I love
he was nice, man. He was super
Herschel
cool, super chill. I don't even know why he gave me his address. There was a reason for I don't remember the reason. I
love him, even though I just called him Herschel Gordon. Herschel Gordon Lewis.
Horshore, you called him?
Instead of Herschel Gordon, a Herschel Gordon.
Oh, it's okay. That's Tobey Hooper's cousin.
Yeah. It's another clit kisser.
Tobey. Yes, and Clint Kisser. All right. Now we get to the back of the page. Monster Invasion. This has become my favorite section because it's stuff that's being planned, coming out.
Okay. Come.
Yes, it's about to happen here. All right. Friday the 13th. This is the first time it's been mentioned here. Director-producer Sean Cunningham's first film since Last House on the Left concerns mayhem on the grounds of a summer camp. The movie is currently being lensed in the wilds of New Jersey, so not much can be revealed of the plot at this time, though it seems that Cunningham plans a Spencer along the lines of John Carpenter's Halloween, embellished by effects in the style of Romero. For the latter, Cunningham has imported Dawn of the Dead's Tom Savini from Pittsburgh.
They got it bang on, but did they say the first movie or his first horror movie? Because he did Manny's Orphans and Here Come the Tigers.
No, this is... Oh, you're right, he did. Hold on. You're right, director-producer, you're right. Sean Cunningham's first film since Last House on the Left. And you are definitely, we all know that about Manny's Orphans and the other one. Yeah. And in the softcore thing that they did. Was that him or was that Craven? They did the softcore.
Together, I think, was Craven, but
Yeah.
That might have been before Last House too. The timeline, it's screwy for me there, but
you're right.
It's interesting because it was a total ripoff of Halloween with the gore added in. That's the perfect description. Like, got Tom Savini from Dawn of the Dead to incorporate Dawn of the Dead style gore effects to a Halloween style story.
Right.
Guns.
Yeah. Pretty wild. Okay, here's another one. Friday the 13th, The Orphan. This is a movie.
I know. It always came up. Same year, 1980, right?
Yeah, Mark Owens is David, the orphan. Already test marketed in several cities and released in 50 theaters in New York, The Orphan concerns a 10-year-old boy who was deprived of warmth and love after the violent death of his parents. The boy's retaliation for his betrayal by the adult world supplies the thrills. According to the distributor, due to the unusual terror shown in the film, a $50,000 insurance policy has been taken against death by shock among movie patrons. National release is slated for February. Wow. So The Orphan.
I don't know what the story is there. There was always. I forget the story there though, because I know that Cunningham took out the ad in Variety the year before, but I don't know how Friday the 13th, The Orphan, was able to use the Friday the 13th title, unless or why no one was sued over it, or maybe that's what they're suing over now.
It's so weird. The only one that comes up is from a disturbed young man is plagued by horrific headaches that he believes made him commit murders. Is this it? Oh, that's it. Look at the cover.
It's 1979.
Wow.
It's 79 that came out.
And look what it says. You have a date with death. Chucky stole that line.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a cool fucking cover. I wonder if I can get this poster. That's fucking great. Friday the 13th, The Orphan. Wow. Yeah. How have I never heard about this?
It's a prequel.
Right? Wow. It's currently at a 4.1 out of 10 on the B. Can this be found anywhere, The Orphan? I'm definitely curious about it.
It's a mongoloid orphan.
It's got that $50,000 die of shock thing going on. That's kind of scary, you know? Maybe it's good. I don't know. Okay. And now, Scanners. Fangorian favorite David the Brood Cronenberg is currently directing this futuristic thriller from his own script. Plot details are still secret, though Cronenberg tells that it concerns a group of people who have achieved powers of telepathy by technological means. The same theme as Stereo, an experimental film made by the young director over a decade ago. The film's $4 million budget will allow for greater special effects and possibly Dolby Stereo sound. Planned release fall 1980. So how about that? Stereo, you know about this movie?
Yeah. It's on like special features of some of his Criterion, or one of the Criterion collections, Stereo and his other short films.
Well, it must be the Scanners one, because if it's apparently this is the same plot as Scanners, you know.
That's the Stereo one. There's another one as well, Crimes of Passion or something like that. I can't remember.
Crimes and Misdemeanors.
Yeah, that's Crimes and Misdemeanors.
And here's a movie. Have you guys ever heard of Effects? EFFECTS.
Yes.
The first feature film from the ImageWorks, a Pittsburgh-based production company using much of the same talent that has contributed to George Romero's series of shock films, including effects supervisor Tom Savini. Scripted and directed by Dusty Nelson, Effects concerns a director obsessed with the idea of a film in which the deaths are for real. After recruiting a cast and crew for a horror film, he proceeds to engineer their deaths. Though the film is being completed and screened at several film festivals, no arrangement has yet been made for American distribution. So you guys have seen
I talked about it on the show, either a Triple R or something in the past, because it got a release of 4 years ago, maybe.
Joe Pilato, there you go. Yeah, 1979. Wow. It's on Tubi. I'm going to have to watch this. Was it any good? What'd you say about it?
I liked it.
It's
not
got Savini.
Fantastic, but I liked it. Yeah.
John Harrison acting? Huh. Wow, interesting. Tom Savini in the cast is Nicky. Oh, so I don't even know if he does the effects. I think it said he did, but wow, how about that? Okay, well, that's it. That's issue 4. I was hoping to get to 5, but I don't think we're going to have the time. So we will save it for next show. That is good. We have another movie.
Crimes of the Future was the Cronenberg film. The other short one I was thinking
of.
It
wasn't Crimes of Misdemeanors?
No, you're wrong. Yeah, wrong.
What is Crimes and Misdemeanors? Is that a comedy?
Yeah. Isn't that Woody Allen?
I think it's Woody Allen, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I knew that. See? Pop culture.
Woody.
And Bo Rat was in it.
Bo Rat. Bo Ratsdell.
Bo Rat's Bo Rat's tail.
Bo Rat's tail. Yeah, there you go. Rat's tail. Remember those things people used to put in their hair? The fucking rat tail? Did you have one, B?
You should have. No, I didn't. Christian should have one. I want you to have a rat's tail for next show.
Did you ever have a rat tail? See?
I think I grew like that much. I'm like, yeah, rat tail, and my mom made me cut it off. Yeah.
You must have looked like a puppy dog with a little tiny tail, like one of those
fucking
nubs.
A nub.
Yeah. A nub tail. I forgot one note. I only had 2 notes for The Hills of Ice, and my other note was there's one point where he's like, Ruby! And for whatever reason, as I'm watching it, the only thing I can think of is like, you goonie! And I don't know why, but I wrote it down. Ruby, you Goonie. And I don't even think that is the character's name in the Goonies, but it just felt like it should have been yelled, Ruby, you Goonie! And that was my second note. And that was, for whatever reason, I probably should have just left it as a note.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there any way you could edit it back to a note?
Ruby, you Goonie! Keith, you ghouly Moffat!
God.
I improved it. See?
Another Cronenbergism. Here we go.
A Bergism, huh?
Cronenbergism?
Or did I say Cravenism?
You did. You said a Bergism.
Cronenbergism. All right, People Under the Stairs from 1991. 2 adults and a juvenile break into a house occupied by a brother and sister and their stolen children. There they must fight for their lives.
Okay, I have no idea. Well, Christian was the one I think that recommended this movie when we were just trying to make different pairings. So I'm gonna guess that he's the big fan of it. I know there's a lot of big fans of it. I'll tell you this. I had not seen this movie in a very long time, and maybe about four to 5 months ago, I watched this one for the first time probably since like the early 90s. And I also watched Vampire in Brooklyn for the very first time ever, all like in a matter of like 3 days. And at the end of the day, the way I felt about this one when I watched it, just recently, is the way I felt about it again yesterday. I was hoping to come up, and I did not. I don't dislike the movie. I just think it's okay. And I know some people, JP has it as like #1 of that year when they did it on the freaking, on 22 shots for that. So I know people love it, and I just wish I could get it. I think for me, I think it's too long, a little bit boring, and a little bit dark. And I don't know.
The Scream Factory Blue? Because I watched the Scream Factory Blue and I thought it looked fine.
No, I mean, when I say it's not because of a poor transfer, or I just think being in that house in the dark the whole movie just doesn't do a whole lot for me, I guess. I can't explain what it is. It just...
I love the house.
Yeah.
I have no problem with the house or the people. I just...
Don't want them in there.
More. I know, I think I just want more.
He has a problem with the stairs.
Yeah.
Well, the stairs doesn't make any sense.
Or the people under it. Or the fact that they broke out at the end and they could have broken out like 15 years ago.
This is one of the ones that I saw in the theater.
Title,
yeah.
When I heard this title when I was a kid, The People Under the Stairs, I imagined like a haunted house thing or somebody moving into a house and there's these fucking evil beings underneath the stairs. And then what I ended up getting was basically a movie that, here's what I think. I think if you saw it as a kid and because your lead character is a child, I could see completely identifying with the movie on that level and growing, being close to the same age as that kid. I get that. I think watching it when I watched it then, being like 20 years old or whatever the hell, or watching it now especially, I just don't gravitate towards it. But
I think
anyway,
it's prime for a remake, and I know Jordan Peele has talked about possibly remaking this, and I think he's the perfect person to
agreed
tackle this.
That'd be good, and I think
maybe it'll be his next film, because his next film comes out July of next year, so maybe it'll be this, maybe not, but.
So I saw this in the theater, and I would say that I was an 8.5 back in the day. I bought it on Laser, and I watched it numerous times.
You were 8 in 1991 when this came out in the theaters?
No, I gave it an 8.5.
Oh.
Ooh, okay.
Well, you said I was 8, maybe 8.5.
No.
I was like, how does that work?
No, I gave it an 8.5. Again, because I liked Carpenter and I'd forgive him. It has some tone issue, in my opinion. It doesn't know if it wants to be a comedy at some points. It doesn't know if it wants to be a dark comedy or if it wants to be a horror film. I mean, I know it wants to be. I know his goal was to make a horror film with comedic moments, but the comedic moments take me out. Now, back in the day, I loved it because I gravitated towards that. So everything that Dave hates, like I like the fact that there was a young protagonist. I love the fact that like there's some batshit craziness there. It's a little too long for its own good. And as I've gotten older, again, it's one that I think is good but not great. But I do enjoy it. I think the setup is great. I think they tried to do something different. I love the fact that they're trying to rip off the slum, the landlord or that is essentially a slumlord, and that aspect is great. And the batshit craziness of the couple is fantastic.
A couple, brother, sister.
A brother and sister, which is even creepier, and the gimp outfit. And there's a scene of total, like, when she comes with that butcher knife at the end and just attacks her stolen daughter.
I got him. I got him.
Good performances by them. I'm not taking anything away from that. I thought they were good.
I mean, they're great in Twin Peaks, so it just seemed like a perfect, just to pluck them from that and have them play them crazy selves in this.
Oh, he was also in Twin. See, I read an article yesterday in a Fango, just to see if there's anything I could pull out of it, and they mentioned
they were a couple in Twin Peaks.
Okay, well, they mentioned she was in Twin Peaks, but West had no idea because he'd never watched it, and they were talking about that he didn't know. He just casted her for whatever. He just casted whoever he casted, and he said something in the beginning about he thought his vision for this movie was Old West meets New West. He was trying to have it have a type of a feel more of like a Hills Have Eyes, Last House on the Left type of horror, nothing supernatural like it came later, but then have a little bit of that Nightmare on Elm Street, other stuff, like a mixture of those two.
I thought he was going for East meets West. Sorry.
The downfall is the makeup effects are beautiful from that
KNB.
Gutted. I know the gutted Ving Rhames or whatever, but that part's great. But the people under the stairs makeup is a little. Why couldn't they just all look like what's his face with no tongue? Roach, instead of the other guy who looks like he's Freddy-esque or whatever. I know they're saying like the pupils are dead. Like it's over the top makeup, and what was supposed to be creepy comes across as a little laughable. And as time's gone on, like that's why I think Jordan Peele could do some justice to this film, because the now it sounds to me are comical in the movie.
Oh, Roach!
I don't find them scary.
Roach was terrifying as a kid for me.
As I was younger, or when I was a teen, I thought it was scarier. Now watching it in retrospect, I get a lot of comedy, unintentional comedy out of that.
Yeah.
The comedy they get out of the dog, I think, goes on too much. Like,
Shock dogging?
I get it. They're trying to appeal to a broader audience, but I think it just why it tap dances on the line too much that I don't know sometimes if it goes too far, like with the reactions of when he gets sling blade in the face, he's like, "Whoa," and he falls back and becomes like a cartoon almost. A cartoon that punches the dog and, will you shut the fuck up? Like, it escalates it to cartoon-esque. Maybe that's what he was going for, but it took
At
me
least
out.
he didn't blow a smoke ring like Bob and Hill.
Didn't blow ring, but it just dances on that line, and I feel like that is, if they played it more straight, I think I would enjoy this a lot more, and that's what I feel that Jordan Peele would do with the actual material.
Well, look, these kids are supposed to be. Alice is supposed to be 12 years old in this, and even though she was like 17 when she made this, she comes across as even older. So what you need to do if you're going to remake this film is actually cast 12-year-old kids. Actually make them look emaciated as they would if they were deprived sunlight and adequate food and nutrients. Make them actually look sick. Don't make them look like monsters or Freddy-esque, as you said. Obviously, some have been there longer than others. Make it into an actual abuse of children story and make it horrifying in that sense.
And make them locked up a little bit more in that area, because they seem like they've got full realm, and they can go through the Evil Dead-esque wall boards that are like literally are like a 2-foot diameter that you can run throughout the house, and they can get anywhere. And when they're outside at the lights, and like there's just some, again, I'm jumping all over the place, but they've too much free range of the house, I find. Maybe Roach.
No, it's only Roach who's free, but even at the end, and that's my big issue with this film, is the last 10 minutes of it. It kind of feels wonky. It feels off a little bit to me. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the sister and the grandfather showing up, but when they bust out from under the stairs and bust out through the walls,
why couldn't they do that?
Why couldn't they do that 10 years ago?
Yeah,
a lot of
that part. What gave them the superhuman strength to suddenly do it? And then the daughter comes zooming down, like there's the chimney part, when they're going down the chimney, holy crap, is brutal. Chimney. And when she falls out of the damn light and hits her mom at the door, is too, and then they speed it up because they probably realize how ridiculous it looked, but that just added to its ridiculousness. Yeah. Like, I laughed again, as did my son at that point. It's just too. Oh no, my daughter was watching with her. My daughter at that point, and she thought it was funny. She was actually interested in going back and watching it from the beginning with me, but she saw that and she thought that's kind of ridiculous. And then the rap music kicks in, and you just see these guys just go, I'm getting the hell out of Dodge, and the people out on the stairs just walk away. As everybody's like.
They shouldn't have played rap. They should have played some rock and roll. They should have played some Jimi Hendrix.
Well,
That's a great song, though, man. It's that was a great song. Glad they played it. There was our redhead kingpin in the FBI. Do the right thing. That's a good track. I was, as soon as it came out, I'm like, oh yeah, nice, redhead kingpin. I remember that when
this is such a dark themed movie that honestly should have zero comedy. Like, if Jordan Peele touches this film, it's gonna feel like Us, with maybe like a few one-line comedy notes that might or might not land, whether you like that stuff or not. But it's meant to be played much darker than this. And with everything going on today, I mean, he just has so much to dive into.
That's just it. They barely touched upon those topics in this movie. They were mentioned, and then that's just like one more part of the story. But I think what Peele would do is that would be the impetus of everything, and the other stuff is just going to be happenstance. It's going to be more metaphorical in a way. It's like, okay, look at what these people are doing. They're keeping these people down here, and they could go so far with it, and I think they would. The thing is, you're trying to have a message here, and you're having the goofy stuff like the electrocution scene, which is really
with the dog.
All of it.
When he drags the dog over.
Yes. Yeah, too much, man.
That's where shock dogging came from, right? Shock dogging.
That one is shock dogging. That scene, again, as a kid, thought it was hilarious, but it shouldn't be in this movie. But again, them getting into the house, the way that they go about doing it, where the guy goes in, like he starts as the Boy Scout, and then you never send a kid in to do a man's job, and then he goes in as the electrician, and what becomes of him, and they go back in to try to save him and try to get the coins or whatever. I love all that. It does make another misstep that he pulls Mr. Heroic, so he leaves, only that's when we learn the story, when he goes home. So the guy's safe and sound at home, but he makes a promise to Alice, so he goes back to save her. And I get it I guess they do call the cops. Sorry, I was going to say you better go with the cops. So he calls the cops. Yeah. They've cleaned up the house. So it does make sense from that regard. But he doesn't go with the cops. He uses that as a way just to get back into the house.
Yeah.
To sneak in, and he pops out of the cupboards and goes to save her.
There's some really good things, though. I like the fact that the padlocks are locked from the outside. Like they hint at
and
it,
they reference
but,
that.
Yeah, they reference it just for a sec, and it's just enough to know, oh, like this isn't about people breaking in, it's about keeping people from breaking out, and like that's really cool. And some of the effects are good, and some of the effects are like at the end with the explosion, they should have done some makeup effects with Everett McGill's character, with Daddy's characters. They should have made him look like he was blown up. They should have added some gore to that. And also, there's a scene where he's down in the basement and they have a skeleton hanging, and it's like the cleanest, whitest skeleton ever.
Pirates of the Caribbean. I thought of it too. It's the funniest thing. Hey, man, I'm like, what the hell's with this Pirates of the Caribbean skeleton?
It was the worst. I was like, there's no, like, it was so goofy. It was so bad. I was like,
it's a pirate safe for me. Ho, ho, ho.
All he needs is the fucking thing. Yeah. All he needs is that steering wheel for the ship in front of him. Yeah. You know what I mean? And a fucking patch over its eye.
No, because like you said, the Ving Rhames body thing that Roach pulls up and scares off the people under the stairs with from a hurting fool. Like, that's creepy. Yeah. Spencer's hair's turning white always creeped me out as a kid. And when she feeds him the hand and stuff, and like there's some cool effects in here, and then there's some like ridiculously goofy like non-effects. Like, we need a skeleton.
But they're just asking too much of the viewer. It doesn't make any sense to me. Where first of all, those are the most boring scenes to me. When the father is chasing freaking Roach through the house and shooting at the wall. They could have cut that whole fucking 15 minutes out.
I think that's creepy.
I love it.
When you're talking about, who was in the GIMP costume going and running around like full raged.
What do I care?
I love that part.
Love it.
Really, it blows the shit out.
I'm with Brandon. That's the scary stuff.
What do you give a fuck about?
I like Roach. I think one of the problems is they killed Roach off too soon in the film.
I understand the significance of Roach in the movie. I just don't. He wasn't anywhere near him. It was just watching a lunatic walk around a house and freaking shoot walls and ceilings, and like nothing came of it. It just, I don't know. It kind of bored me a little bit. And then they make a big issue, and I know it's ridiculous, and that's part of the thing, that they're wackadoos. But she's like, don't fire a gun outside the house. So in the meantime, and that's the joke, fire it inside the house. It's stupid, but whatever. But you're asking too much of the viewer. You mean to tell me this town where cops come in all the time very easily, that none of their neighbors or nobody around them can tell when people are shooting fucking shotguns off in their house all the time? It's just, you're asking too much of the viewer. They should have had the house on a hill, away from the city, like secluded, like a rich house up a big hill on a big road. Then I could buy it. Right?
It's in suburbia, it seems, and I agree. I totally agree. And he drained that little like homemade pond that they've got pretty quickly. I put glass in the bottom too, within hours.
Right.
Like, they cleaned that house up. Remember, he's blowing holes through walls, and those cops come later. Like, they had to do a lot of patch-up work then to make that house look presentable for the cops to come. Plus, hope that they didn't hear anybody. No one says, "Hey, do you got a basement in this joint?"
Right.
Fucking huge house. They've got this little mechanical thing. Although I do love the stairs and all that. Like, I love all the gadgets that make that house the crazy house that it is. But
yes, but why?
Again, being older, so they can't get out. And I get it. It's booby trapped.
Why do they need the stairs? Why do they need the stairs in the basement to turn into a slide? How
for like security, I guess, or to
extra
keep people.
security in case
Security.
someone, if one of them got out and tried to come up the stairs, he could just hit.
You think they can't climb that fucking thing? It's that hard to climb the fucking stairs that are angled down?
Not when you hadn't eaten.
2 seconds.
I get okay. You know what? That's a fair enough explanation for me. I won't nitpick that. That's fine. I was thinking more like they kept throwing people down those stairs and like sliding them down the stairs. And I was thinking, so you just built that just so you wouldn't, just to get them down the stairs? Why not just throw them down a flight of stairs? Why slide them down? But anyway,
he does throw a fool down the flight.
I know he does. That's why. That's when I thought of it. I'm like, why turn it into a slide when you could just throw people down the stairs anytime you want? But I understand. It's more defense from them escaping. So that's fine. I get that. But how about the fact that Ving Rhames knows everything about the fucking history of this family? Going back to fucking whatever, a century. You know what I mean? This happened, and they got crazier. Yet the cops and the people
He doesn't
that
know that.
It's
the
grandpa
that knows it.
Yeah, the grandpa Booker.
Whatever the fuck, grandpa. Somebody in the family. Either
The
way,
old wise man. There's always an old wise man. Ving Rhames doesn't know anything other than that there's gold doubloons in the fucking place, and they're trying to get them from one-eyed. Oh wait, no, that's the Goonies. And then he says, "Ruby, you Goonie!" Everything's a Goonie in this thing. And then they get One-Eyed Willie's treasure, and then
and the fucking yo-ho, the pirate fucking guy in the bottom, the skeleton. You're right. It is Goonies again.
More Goonies in this than there is in else.
Gold coins. You're right. There's more of a tie-in. Look at this. Maybe Wes Craven is just doing Goonie movies.
Well, he loves his trap things. Like, again, great scene where he's like, you're counting that money there. Then those coins slip through your fingers. And it's a rigged mechanism of him finding a candelabra with like 4 candles there and stuck all these coins in. So like the wax will melt and the coins would fall out. I'm like, no kid's gonna think of that, and no kid's gonna take the time. I'd be like, where's my way out of here? And he's like, and there's like,
Fool was resourceful. I like Fool. I think
That's
he could come up with a candelabra trap.
I like Fool.
That means
I like
just tricky that he's there. Sorry.
I like that Kelly Jo Minter is in the beginning. I wish they would have used her more because she's always great and in that time period. And I wish she would have gotten in the house instead. Or either way, I think that she should have had more screen time. But back to what I said. Okay, so the grandpa knows all that history.
She made the coins. She was the minter of those coins.
He references that the cops never did anything because it was all just stories.
Yes, but what I'm saying is it's folklore of a town. Everybody's going to know about it. He's an older gentleman. There's going to be other people passing it down. You would think, if anybody, the cops that go to the house now, they treat them like they're royalty. They should be suspicious if this is a known thing that's been happening in their town all these years.
They're not suspicious. I thought they are.
No, okay, look at it this way. If you and I were
cookies. She's handing out cookies to try to and you see the guys like, ooh, cookies. And they're all happy. So it's almost like a low-end bribery of, oh, they're fine. A little kooky, but fine. But then he's like, he's answering questions, and another guy's like, hey, you got to check this out down here. Why is there a room for kids? You don't have kids. And then they explain, no, she left us long ago, and in a way you can say she's always going to be here or whatever. I'm paraphrasing, but ultimately like that, like I think they play around with a bit of the suspicion there. I get it, not to the extent that you'd probably imagine.
They're too easily charmed. They're acting like they're going to any normal person's house with an investigation. Like if you and I were aware, if you and I are cops and we're aware that we live in this town and there's always rumors about this and they have a fucked up family, it keeps getting worse and there's something strange afoot at this house and this and that. I don't think you're going to go there without some type of chip on your shoulder. You're going to you're not going to be charmed by them. If anything, you're going to maybe indulge them for a few minutes, but then there's going to be some discussion amongst you saying, hey, this is that family, you know. And it just, you're asking me to be you're asking me to believe that they're all completely oblivious to the history of the town. And they're cops. Those are the people. Cops are like, you know, they know shit. Things get passed along. I don't know. You're just asking.
I think that's Craven's statement on it. You know, the white cops, you know, are not suspicious of the rich white family when it's so obvious. When it's sort of so obvious, that,
Okay.
everyone's living in poverty, because even the house, like, yeah, like she fixes up the kitchen and makes cookies, but it's still a steel door that opens to the like you would look at this house and be like, there's something off with this house.
Yeah.
Like in a newer version, this house would look like a fucking palace, and then there'd be secret fucking sex dungeons and fucking torture rooms underneath, whereas this just looks like evil all throughout. But I think that's just a social statement.
I've never been or lived in a slum or but when he goes home, the amount of drug induced, like, I don't know, is it too much? That seems
hey fool, like I heard you getting evicted. Hey fool,
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because they're the last people left in the apartment.
Yeah.
There's nobody else. The whole. It's almost like the place is just being occupied by squatters. It's like Cabrini Green, But they're just the last folks that have to be there. Yeah, and it's sad, but again, I love Jordan Peele to get his hands on this and to do something, because I think it would be better. Because again, the movie's fine. I just think it's too goofy in places. I'm not engaged the whole time. I think it's like an hour and 47 minutes long or something. And I just think it could be an hour and 25.
Craven loves making long movies. like you got this, you've got, like, I don't know how long Vampire in Brooklyn is, but then the Scream movies and whatever. Like,
I found Vampire in Brooklyn to be a little long in the tooth.
I liked Vampire in Brooklyn, by the way.
Serpent in the Rainbow, long.
There you go. But that's another case of a movie that was shit on, that everybody talks shit about, and I never watched it. And remember, I said I watched Vampire in Brooklyn and this within 3 days of each other, and honestly, I rated them the same. I do not get the hate on Vampire in Brooklyn. I thought it was not bad at all.
I need to rewatch that one. I didn't love that the first time, but Serpent in the Rainbow, I think is underrated.
It was long and boring to me, but I was young. Maybe now I'd appreciate it more.
Well, we saw it. We saw it for the show, and you're
long and boring.
Well, there you go. It made no impression on me again. Okay.
Yeah, you're long and boring.
Maybe I am. Long in the tooth.
I do find that there's entertainment value here and enough good creepy stuff to make me recommend it and like it more than I feel like I should. Because I feel like there's elements of Shocker and there's elements of his lesser films here, but there's enough good stuff to carry me through.
I would rather watch Shocker and Deadly Friend than this, even though I probably would rate them all the same.
Wow.
This movie is but there's a I can't explain it. There's daylight in those movies, and there's fun to be had, and even if it's unintentional. This movie, to me, is very long and kind of drab. It's just, I don't know. That's just me.
I disagree, respectfully.
Well, I disagree, but I'm not like blowing it out of the water. Like I said, I've come down since I used to. I would say it was in great territory, and one of, like, again, I love Craven. Now I'm just, again, as a 7. I feel like it's my cop-out rating today, but that's what I feel like I'm hovering. Like, it's a good movie. It's enjoyable. I will rewatch it. I own the Blu.
I think if they remake it, they have to switch focus a little bit more, not only a little bit more to the people under the stairs, to the Alice character, to the Roach character, stuff like that. A little bit more development with those, because that's where this film lacks. Because I like Alice, I like Roach, and it's just not enough there.
They need a bigger setup. They need a better setup. They had a good setup, don't get me wrong, but they need a better setup so he doesn't have to get out to go back in. But that the Joe Minter character knows enough to say, hey, where the fuck are these guys? They've been gone for like 2 days, knows where they're heading, and then goes with the police to maybe to go back without them getting out, and then they can merge that a bit better and somehow build it, but stay within the house for the majority of the film instead of have them get out and go back. I think that's where.
I mean, it could get really dark with a remake. They could have the cops kill the fool character.
Oof, that'll never happen.
And then someone say, "I pitted a fool," or not.
Or they have him kill Mr. T, and Mr. T say, oh,
"What does your Mr. T doll say about jibber jabber?"
Quit your jibber jabber.
I love that. Quit your jibber jabber. That's fucking great.
Do you know
man.
Hilary Swank auditioned for the role of Roach?
What?
Yeah. Roach was written to be a male or a female.
Wow. That would have been something.
That's
Wow.
that's another issue.
Eat the Roach.
Everyone looks too old.
Too old.
They look too old. Roach is supposed to be 15 in this. Alice is supposed to be 12. The only one who looks 13 is Fool.
Oh, okay.
Something
yeah,
about the tongues being cut out is so creepy. Yet it's
Roach too.
But then it's too. It's comical. Unfortunately, something I don't know what they could do to not do that, but it ends up being like every time I heard it, I'm like, oh, I don't want to laugh, but this is kind of funny to me instead of scary. But I admit that when I was younger, I was scared.
Well, there it is. I think a lot has to do with when you saw it. Identifying.
But I was a teen. I mean, I was 17, I think, when I saw this.
I remember the first time I seen it just being underwhelmed, but then I hadn't seen it in so long. Or maybe I'll like it more this time. And it still hasn't happened. I've always felt the same since it first came out. Great box cover, though. Great box art. I love that freaking, of course, being the skulls. Always with a skull or a skeleton. But I think it's cool. But it's so funny. You said it's a 7. It sounds like I'm coming down. I'm just pointing out why I feel this way. Because I almost feel like people blow it so hard that maybe I needed to say why I feel what I do, but it's a 6.5 for me, so I'm not far off.
So it's a Brandon rating.
Yeah, it is apparently.
I don't not a Brandon rating, a Brandon review in the sense of like
right.
Yeah,
I know.
I feel like Brandon will be the highest.
I definitely will be the highest because I already know your scores and I know mine is higher. I really enjoyed this film. I just think there is a film to be made of this that could be a masterpiece, but this is a solid 8 out of 10.
Ooh, wow, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
So 2 8s for you. 2 Cravens, 2 8s.
Yeah. I feel like Craven did a lot of 8s.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
Crazy 8s.
Crazy 8. Craven 8s. Craven 8s for you Cravenites out there. Yes.
Boo.
And that was
Boo. Boo. Boo.
Why does the guy smell his clothes? when they find the Cub Scout clothes, the father they grabs them.
Because that makes it creepier. That's just a creepyism. Just the way he grabs his crotch.
They're really good actors in this. Mommy and Daddy, they're very good in this. Especially Mommy at the end when she's just lost and she's got the knife.
Yes.
He does. Craven relies for a quote unquote seasoned director at this point. He does rely on Dutch angles a lot in this movie.
In Dutch ovens.
You beat me right to it. I couldn't get it out.
Not again.
Dutch oven. What the fuck is a Dutch angle?
Where they tilt the camera to make it shot a little bit more interesting because they can't think of anything else to do.
Is that because the Dutch directors only have one shoe on and they're tilted?
One wooden shoe.
My other clog.
They're only wearing one clog, so they're like, oh, this is straight.
Yeah.
Dutch oven. The minute he said Dutch oven, I'm like, Dutch oven. Yeah,
100%.
The low hanging fruit. Usually I go for that.
Yeah, right. Awesome. Well, I guess that's it. Not a bad show at all. I'm glad we had a different vote. And maybe those other votes that were pretty close, maybe we'll do them again in the near future randomly. We'll throw them out there because I like those ideas that we have about those whatever the other 2 ideas were. Oh, the collector and the collection and the a movie paired up with another Amityville sequel. I think that would be a way to go through the Amityville movies that could be fun. Not all of them, mind you. Not all of them. See, just the 2 box sets. Just the original 1, 2, 3, and then the other ones that came after, like Dollhouse and the Evil Escapes and
like
whatever.
4, 5, 6.
Maybe whatever the hell they are.
Just 1, 2, 3, and the other ones that came after that. 4, 5, 6.
Right after, but they weren't called 4, 5, and 6. Although I think it was called Amityville 4, the Evil Escapes, and then the other ones had titles.
Right? Amityville 5, People 0. Amityville 6,
time.
Jaws 3,
It's
People
about
0.
time at Dollhouse, I think.
Dollhouse.
Well, there's also the Amityville Curse. So there's the Amityville, the Evil Escapes, Amityville Curse, Dollhouse, and It's About Time. They're all around that same time frame.
Those ones could
same time frame, but
it's about time we end this shit.
Yeah. Thank freaking God.
Okay, well, for me, for C, for B, and for Lucky, we're gonna say good night, goodbye. We love you, and Manchi.
He called me fool.
We're all gonna get laid.